What's going on, guys? We are back for one more week to talk about what's going on in the NFL world. And my favorite time of the year, the NBA season is kicked off. And we'll still get into the MLB playoffs and WWE with the pay-per-view TLC coming up this Sunday. We are Sports Moves, 2 Moody's,
1 Duty,
Sports. Let's go. What's going on, guys? Once again, thank you for listening. Thank you for tuning in with us. I am C Moody, here with
D Moody,
and we are Sports Moods. 2 Moody's,
1 Duty,
Sports. So, man, we're just going to kick off and dive into the NFL because now we have a lot going on in sports. And for me personally, this is like my favorite time of the year because now you get... If you are a WWE fan, you get to watch WWE Monday, Tuesday. In between that, you got football going on Sunday. And now throughout the week, you got the NBA season going on. And as well as if you're a baseball fan, you got the baseball playoffs going on right now. And of course, we can't forget college football. So it's just everything going on. If you're a sports fanatic, this is the best time of the year for you. This should be like Christmas. So we're going to start off into the NFL and recap our predictions. And D Moody, he took it again this week. That's you creeping up on me?
Hear those footsteps, man.
Ah, man. What is the record now? What's the record?
Officially, so I do have to put this out there. C Moody brought it to my attention when I first got here that we missed a pick last week.
Mm-hmm. We missed one game.
We missed one game, and honestly, it was the Houston versus Cleveland game. So I honestly feel that both of us would have taken Houston in that game, hands down. So we both just went ahead and gave ourselves a win on that, even though we did miss that game. So right now, with that game added in, as it stands, C Moody is now 53-38.
53-38. Okay, I like that sound.
D Moody is 51-40 after this week. This is, and we're gonna go through all the picks of which ones we got right and got wrong. So for the week, I think I went 6-9.
Yeah,
and you went.
I think I went
6-9 as well.
No, I lost one.
You lost one more than me. So I think you had it as...
Matter of fact, I'm going to check Instagram, which is a good plug. If you can follow us on Instagram at It's Sports Moods and on Twitter at Sports Moods.
Yeah.
I went 4-9 this week. You went 5-8.
5-8. So
and then
without
adding the
Houston.
one.
So Houston made me
6-8.
6-8.
And now I'm 5-9.
And 5-9.
There we go.
Okay. So we're going to go over how our picks went. Now 2 games back.
Yeah.
I'm just each week just gaining ground on C Moody here. And you know, every week I just love to just look back, flash back to week 1 where I started 5-10.
You did.
Since then, I have gone 46-30.
Yeah.
And Mr. C Moody here has only gone 41-35. So I am gaining ground. Hopefully next week, week 7, will be my week to take the lead for the first time this season. But you just got to give me some applause on the comeback trail here each week.
And so in the last,
closer and closer.
As far as like winning for these past 6 weeks, you won 4 out of the past 6 weeks. So you're 4 technically as far as winning a week. You're 4-2, and I'm 2-4. So I mean, you know, going off of all of our picks as a whole, you know, I'm on the lead. But as far as someone who picks them the majority of them right throughout the week, you're pretty much the dominant right now. So
yeah, we'll see how it goes. Still a lot of stuff going on. So we had some crazy things happen this week and some breakout performances, some key injuries.
Yeah, injuries everywhere.
Yeah, everywhere.
Jeez.
So we'll go ahead and jump into it. I'll do the first game.
Okay.
We had Thursday Night Football last week. Philadelphia Eagles going into the Queen City in Charlotte, North Carolina to take on the Carolina Panthers. Both of these teams going into this game was 4-1. Philadelphia did get the win. It was 28-23.
Yep.
I think Cam Newton had a rough day at the office in this game. 3 interceptions in the game. So turnovers were pretty much the difference in this game for the Panthers. Although they did have some moments there late at the end to try to come back, but it seems like every time they started to do something good, a turnover would happen or a Philadelphia defensive player made a big play to force them to punt the ball or whatever. I was really impressed with Carson Wentz, the way he's been playing and leading this team. And to me, the Eagles are quietly just sitting there at 5-1. I mean, and it's not. I wouldn't say I'm surprised to see them play that well, but it's just that they've been kind of flying under the radar. What did you think of this game?
I agree with you as well. I don't know if I could say that it was Cam Newton having a poor game or just the Eagles defense having a good game, or I would say I think I would pick in the middle. The defense just knew how to capitalize at Cam Newton's shortcomings this week. So I don't know. It seems like the Panthers, even though they're still 4-2 right now, but they're not all together. It's just something that's not sticking. Their formula, their nucleus doesn't seem to be as put together as it was just a couple years ago when they had their Super Bowl run. And on the other side of the field, you got the Eagles, who looks like they have everything together and it looks like they're on the right track. And with Carson Wentz and their defense, I mean, they're going to be in the playoffs. Like that's pretty much obvious right now, just from looking at it. They would have to have a horrible end of the season for them to not be in the playoffs. But
I agree. Carson Wentz is playing well. You got some players stepping up like tight end Zach Ertz, and then you got Nelson Aguilar. I would like to kind of see him, progress more in the receiving core for them, for the Eagles. So they've been dealing with a lot of injuries too over the past several weeks, but they're still finding ways to persevere through that and consistently win football games. And they're off to a great start at 5-1. Leading the NFC East division. Yeah.
So the next game we're going to get into, the next game is going to be my LA Rams that I bet against.
How did you do that, man? How did you go against your boys there?
Honestly, I was afraid. I played afraid of the Jaguars. I was seeing how Blake Bortles have had these breakout games, as well as Leonard Fournette just continually having a great rookie season. So I must admit, I was like, I don't see them winning it. And honestly, if you want to be technical about it, which I mean, a win is a win, and glad to see that they can win in different formats now. But their special teams is what saved them this game. And that's a side of the Rams that we haven't seen, so far. So for them to pull out this, what was it? I'm gonna just shoot a couple. Farrell Cooper kicking off in the beginning of the game with 103 kickoff return, and then as well as Malcolm Brown, once they blocked the punt, having an 8-yard punt return. So
you know where Farrell Cooper went to school at, right?
Where is that?
University of South Carolina. Gamecock there.
How about that?
Yeah.
I did not know that.
Doing some good things.
Yeah, man. So I was glad to see. I'm glad I can accept defeat in this one that I bet against. I'm glad that they won, and I'm glad that they proved me wrong.
Yeah, both of us went with Jacksonville.
Exactly.
On that. I mean, then I don't know if we called out who picked the Carolina-Philly game right, but I went with Carolina and got that one wrong as well, and then you went with Philly.
Yeah.
And then in this one, we both went with Jacksonville. Just, looking, I guess we were kind of seeing the way they beat the Steelers down
exactly
the week before, and then seeing what they did to Baltimore and England a couple of weeks back. So, but I mean, the Rams get the win. They're 4-2.
Yeah.
So they're looking like
pretty good
early contender here early. Like I said, I love what's going on with this team. A lot of young talent in place with Jared Goff and Ty Gurley. And the young head coach and Sean McVay doing some good things for LA to start the season.
Yeah, definitely.
The next game I have down, I'm going to skip over that one. I'm going to go to Miami and Atlanta.
Okay.
Miami Dolphins stunned the Atlanta Falcons.
Yeah, they did.
As you said last week, JJ. Ajayi had an awesome day, running the football, 26 carries on 130 yards on the ground. Basically, the key in this game was Miami's running scheme. It gave the Dolphins defense a lot of trouble. They went with a lot of 3 tight end sets and usually 3 tight ends in their package to help block with the rushing attack. And that's why Ajayi was able to really give Miami the production that he got. And also, this coming off the same week of them losing their offensive line coach to the whole snorting the cocaine video being leaked, and they come out and have a great day on the ground running the football. And they didn't have one of their top receivers in Devontae Parker, who was out with an ankle injury, so they really couldn't go vertical down the field with the football. But I mean, for Atlanta, they had a 17-point lead at one point in this game. They came off of a bye week, so they had that extra week to prepare for the game. You thought anytime you come out of a bye week, you get that extra week of rest, the extra week to prepare. You think you would have come out and play a lot better than what they did. 17-point lead was taken away. They had 82 yards rushing in the first half of the game, and it just looked like in the second half of the game, they just abandoned the run game.
They didn't score anything.
Yeah, they didn't score any points in the second half. They had 18 total yards rushing in the second half.
Wow.
And when you pretty much have a lead like that, sometimes running the football allows you to control the clock. But Miami was able to score 20 unanswered points to win the game 20-17 and go to 3-2.
Not to mention the good performance. I guess you would say it's typical for a field goal kicker, but Cody Parker, Dolphins kicker, kicking the 49-yard and 38 field goals in the fourth quarter, just to kind of solidify and win it for him. Yep,
he hit that game-winning field goal. In this game, we both took Atlanta, so we were wrong.
Yeah, both of us went down on that one.
I thought Matt Ryan would definitely, come out and lead his team to victory, but obviously that's the thing. Any given Sunday in the NFL, you never know who's going to beat who. So it's just for the sake of picking, we thought Atlanta were the better team and they would win. They fall at 3-2, and Miami goes to 3-2 on the season. What's the next game that you have?
The next game, I'm going to go ahead and get into the Pittsburgh Steelers taking on the Kansas City Chiefs. And C Moody, he picked right. He went with the Steelers, and the Steelers did pull it out, 19-13. I did go with the Chiefs, and I was wrong. Ben Roethlisberger had a better game coming off of his depressing last few weeks of performance. He went 17 for 25, 252 yards, 1 touchdown, even though he had 1 interception. Le'Veon Bell had a good game, 32 carries for 179 yards and 1 TD. And, of course, Antonio Brown, being the performer he is, 8 receptions for 155 yards and having a 51-yard touchdown at the end of the fourth quarter just to kind of seal that game for him.
Yeah, first loss of the season for Kansas City. I kind of felt going into this, Pittsburgh would rebound, especially losing the way they did to the Jaguars the week before, and just Big Ben just saying the things that he said. Maybe he doesn't have it anymore. So I kind of really felt that Mike Tomlin would have these guys prepared and ready to go in. This is a big statement game. Kansas City hadn't lost any games all year, been probably the best team in the NFL.
Yeah.
And Pittsburgh went in and won a big road game on the road. The Steelers have still been inconsistent to me, even though they're at 4-2 right now. They've had some weeks where they've looked really solid, and they've had some weeks where they just didn't look good, like when they lost to the Chicago Bears and then they lost to the Jaguars. So it's kind of Jekyll and Hyde for them. You don't really know who they are just as yet, but I still think that they're a dangerous team.
Yeah,
and that they'll be in the conversation when it all comes down.
Well, I think their defense pretty showed up really well. I mean, even though Alex Smith still got 246 yards, they didn't score a touchdown until the fourth quarter, and that was off a 57-yard pass to DeAnthony Thomas. So, I mean, for them to not be able to score into the fourth quarter, I think that that says a lot about the Steelers' defense. Now, the offense has, like you said, has been rocky, but well, I mean, their whole team has been rocky altogether. But you see their defense show up today when they needed it to, especially with Ben Roethlisberger, like you said, kind of just being down on himself lately. So I feel like the team kind of circled around to show that, hey, we're going to do our part now, so you can get yourself together. So,
and I also heard this week as well, Clemson alumni Martavius Bryant wanting out of Pittsburgh. So he wants to try to get out of there. Maybe he feels he's not getting enough targets, or so another receiver speaking out about, against the Steelers here. We had a couple weeks Antonio Brown was mad because of Ben Roethlisberger missing him on the open pass, and now this week we're finding out that Martavius Bryant wants to leave Pittsburgh. So we'll kind of follow that story pretty closely to see how that turns out. But anyway, Pittsburgh does get the win, and they are 4-2, and Kansas City suffers their first loss of the season at 5-1. They're also going to be participating in the Thursday night football game, which is tonight. They're going to be traveling to take on the Oakland Raiders, and we'll give you guys our pick on that just a little later, about almost an hour away from kickoff on that game.
Yeah, because we know when we post it, it's going to be posted up later, but we want you to know that we are currently doing this before the game, so we're not trying to pick and cheat any kind of records. Right now for us, the time is 7:35, so
Eastern Standard. So.
Right. So when you do hear it, know that we are still predicting. Just because we're doing it on Thursday night, we're trying to just make sure we're ahead of the game. So that like you said, all we're doing is going by the rules.
By the rules, yeah. And it's very crucial to this. I mean, it's a 2-game lead for you. So, I mean, any game could be that game to put me over this week. Yeah. So we'll see how it goes. But next game I have is the Chicago Bears versus the Baltimore Ravens. Now, the Chicago Bears have one thing in common with the Jacksonville Jaguars, C Moody, and what is that?
With the Jaguars, they beat the Ravens.
They beat the Ravens and the Steelers
this
year.
Shut up.
So Chicago,
and that's their only 2 wins, isn't it?
Their only 2 wins of the season.
That's something.
Yeah, against the Ravens and the Steelers. So have Jacksonville. They've done that as well. Okay. For me, this was some of the point outs I have from the game. This is Trubisky's first NFL win. Last week was his first start in the Monday Night Football game against the Vikings, and now he finally gets his first win as a professional, on the NFL level. And pretty much it was a 27-24 overtime win. Yeah. Jordan Howard had a monster day rushing the football, 167 yards rushing on the day. The Bears were up 14 points at one point. Trubisky was 8 of 16, so that goes to show you that this was a run-dominant game for the Bears. Only 16 pass attempts in the game for Trubisky, 8 out of 16, 113 yards. Passing, did have a passing touchdown. For the Bears, I saw their defense had a 90-yard interception return for a touchdown for Amos. Okay. In the game, the Bears defense did force 3 turnovers against the Ravens, and that's what I always tell you: just DTF. Don't trust Flacco. Don't trust him. I'm telling you, man. Flacco is Fluco. Come on, man. So he was Fluco this week. Also, I don't know if you have it down. Tariq Cohen. We saw a good old trickeration play, touchdown pass for the running back in the game. Okay. 21-yard touchdown pass in the game. You know how sometimes you have those toss plays that you get the running back rolling out and they throw the ball, and they were actually able to catch a veteran Ravens defense off guard with a trick play like that, which I thought was pretty awesome.
I mean, you wouldn't expect that from the Bears, though.
I mean, at this point, this try anything,
right?
Yeah,
exactly.
At this point, how bad it is. You have some things you want to call out in the game?
Well, I will say, even though, like you said, it was a good win for the Bears, but the Ravens did almost come back. I mean, that's what kind of got them into overtime. They scored 14 points in the fourth quarter. Mm-hmm. With Michael Campanaro, I hope I said it right. With a 77-yard punt return with just under 2 minutes left in the fourth quarter, and then having a 2-point conversion pass by by Joe Flacco to tie the game so they can go into overtime. But like you said, I mean, the Bears just held it out, and Connor Barth had the 40-yard field goal for the win.
Also in this game, we also saw the first kickoff return for a touchdown in the game. Bobby Rainey had a 96-yard kickoff return for a touchdown for the Ravens. It's the first kickoff return for a touchdown this season by any team. You
missed Farrell Cooper.
Oh yeah, but I think during the time when it happened, the Rams played later that afternoon. Okay. So officially, Rainey had the first kickoff return, and then Farrell followed up later that afternoon. So we had 2 in one day, and we went almost 6 weeks without one. So it's good to see that. And the kickoff return is always one of my favorite things. I remember the days of Dante Hall and Devin Hester. Yep. You know, whether it's a punt or a kickoff return, I love to see those because it's game-changing plays. And so to see that happen, especially for 96 yards, man, that is huge. Yeah. A lot has to go right for you to run that far distance for a touchdown. But Chicago does get the win. They are now 2-4 on the season. And the Ravens are 3-3 on the year. What's your next game, C Moody? Who do we go with? Both of us went with
the Ravens.
The Ravens, and we were wrong once again. Seems like all the ones we picked together.
It's always the ones we miss on most occasions.
Yeah, we missed.
So the next game I got is Green Bay going into Minnesota to play the Vikings. Once again, both of us went with Green Bay.
I don't think none of us foresaw what happened.
Of course not. None of us would have expected Aaron Rodgers to break his collarbone in this game. So I think that has a lot to deal with how this game ended. The Vikings did pull out a win, 23-10. Case Keenum did have a good game, 24 for 38, 239 yards with 1 touchdown, albeit 1 interception. Mm-hmm. Jerick McKinnon went 15 carries for 69 yards, but did have a touchdown. And Adam Thielen had 9 receptions for 96 yards. So without a touchdown, he still had a pretty good performance receiving.
I would just have to say, I mean, I didn't see the Aaron Rodgers injury, and I do have a pretty cool stat about Aaron Rodgers. I mean, before he went out with the injury, he was 2 for 4 for 18 yards in the first quarter. Hundley, the backup quarterback, is the only other quarterback on Green Bay's roster. So it was only Aaron Rodgers and Hundley. Whew. So I'm pretty sure Green Bay's probably going to be hitting the market to try to find a backup for the backup. Yeah. So
Colin.
And we did get here's some sound bites from Green Bay's head coach Mike McCarthy about that.
Oh yeah.
He was asked about that. Hey, do you foresee trying to get Colin Kaepernick? And he was just like, we invested 2 years into Hundley, and you're going to ask me a question like that, and I'm talking about the player that's here who we've been preparing and grooming for 2 years, and
so no,
so basically no Kaepernick in Green Bay.
Exactly.
But the stat I wanted to bring out was since 2008, when Aaron Rodgers became the starter for the Green Bay Packers. He's only missed a total of 9 games since becoming.
I mean, 2008?
Since 2008.
It's almost a decade.
Yeah, and so he's only missed a total of 9 games. He missed, I think it was, he missed, I'm trying to remember exactly how they worded it. I think in 2013, he had a collarbone injury which kept him out for like 7 games. And then I think in 2015, he missed like 2 games.
Okay.
So he's only missed a total of 9 games over almost a decade, which is still pretty good.
Yeah, definitely.
I mean, given the fact of how physical the sport is, and he's playing the position of where he touches the ball on every play, he's getting hit, so to
majority of the game.
Now, the backup did come in, Hundley, and he did really good. He was 18 out of 33, 157 yards. He did get a passing touchdown. I think it was to Devontae Adams in the game. Green Bay suffers only their second loss of the season. They went into this game at 4-1. They fall to 4-2.
He did have 3 interceptions.
He did throw 3 picks in the game as well. I didn't want to really beat him up too bad.
No, because Mike McCarthy built him up so much. I wasn't going to say it, but I thought of how you said Mike McCarthy was just fussing about how they built him up for 2 years, and he comes out and do 3 interceptions. So,
but I mean, he probably didn't expect that to happen. But I feel like as a backup, you always need to be ready for the worst case scenario situation. And it's just his first game, so I mean, and then we'll see.
Yeah, I'm not attacking
having
him.
a week to prepare and
right.
Get ready,
that shot wasn't at him. That was at Mike
McCarthy.
Yeah.
I understand that's from a Kaepernick standpoint.
Right.
I agree. Minnesota's now 4-2 as well, so we'll have to kind of see. Aaron Rodgers is likely to miss the rest of the season, so that could mean a big change of things in the NFC now that he's out.
Right.
So I do want to give out one more shout out to Minnesota. McKinnon has really stepped up since Dalvin Cook has went down with the injury. He's really doing some good things, in that position as the running back for the Vikings. So he's doing some great things. So we're going to move into the next game, which was Detroit and New Orleans. And I thought about you when I saw this game.
I bet you did.
This was a massacre at one point,
Oh my God!
But I got to give the Lions some credit. They fought back. They really did. To no avail, but they fought back. New Orleans hangs 52 points on the Detroit defense. It was a 52-38 shootout, so to speak. But the game, the final score really doesn't indicate how far apart this game was. I mean, the Lions trailed by 35 points at one point. They actually battled back to get within 1 touchdown. So to be down 35 points and to get really close to within 1 score is a resilient thing. They get respect points for me on that. So give them some applause here. Not so much.
And 2 of the touchdowns came from 1 special teams and 1 from defense and interception.
Yeah.
So
yeah. Just the fighting spirit of the Lions there, it was good. But as I always say each and every week, I still don't believe in Matthew, man.
I still believe in Matthew.
Same old Lions, as I always say.
Oh no, man!
So,
far from.
With my heart and soul, they're the same old Lions.
Wow, that hurts.
SOL.
Oh.
So out of luck, same old Lions.
So out of luck, same.
But 3 interceptions in the game for the $1 million Matthew.
3 touchdowns as well, so he broke even.
He did come into the game with 1 interception going into this game. So this is his first multi-interception game of the season.
That's right.
And the bye week couldn't have come sooner for the Lions. I think after this game, they just need a week to just refocus and just re-engage themselves.
Just wait till those Lions come back out. That's all I say.
It's a rough week.
Drew Brees also had 2 interceptions with 2 touchdowns to break even. So I'm just saying, just throwing that out there. If you look at the passing yards between the two, Drew Brees has 186, while Matthew Stafford pulled 312
because,
passing yards.
You do understand that when you're trailing in a game, you have to throw the ball more to come back, right?
Mark Ingram had a good...
Yeah.
He had 25 carries, 114 yards, 2 touchdowns. Ted Ginn Jr., I haven't really heard this name come out that often this season. 4 receptions, 66 yards, and a touchdown, so...
And to kind of offset what you said, since you want to kind of make it look like Drew Brees had a little light day, it's because his running game showed up. Yeah. He had Kamara and Mark Ingram both combined together. They're 2 running backs for 237 yards rushing. against that Lions defense.
Whoop-de-doo.
Good job to those running backs out there for the Saints. And just for the Saints, we got to remember, they started the season 0-2. And to win 3 in a row.
Especially this big one against the Lions.
The Lions, they had a big win against Carolina in Charlotte. And then this really wasn't a big win against the
win against the Lions.
I don't really look at that as a big win.
I think it was a very big
They
win.
have been playing really well. And when most of the time you think of the Saints, you think of a high-octane offense, fast-paced, up and down the field, throwing the ball. But really their defense has really stepped up within these last 3 wins, led by Cameron Jordan. The defense has been playing extremely well, causing turnovers, just causing havoc for every team they faced. Yeah. So since this 3-game win streak. So the Saints look like they've turned it around. And this is a really good win to get them to 3-2 right now, hanging up 52 points, their season high in points this season.
The next game.
In other news,
which isn't going any better. We see New England Patriots showing who's the best between them and the New York Giants. If it actually was some kind of question for whatever reason, New York Jets. What did I say?
You said Giants.
Oh, Giants. It doesn't matter. It's the Jets.
But they're the best team in New York.
Yeah, I was about to say they've been.
You got to give them more respect than that.
They really have been doing good this season. But still, both of us went with the Patriots. I reluctantly had to go with the Patriots.
Reluctantly, okay.
And the Patriots actually didn't seem like they were going to win at one time. The Jets kind of pulled up some points really quick. But the Patriots did pull out the win, 24-17.
I mean, because this is my heart and soul right here. Yeah. So. My Pats. So New England trailed by 14 points at one point in the game in the first half. Jets jumped out on them pretty quick, as you said. Deion Lewis had a spurt of good plays late in the first half. He scored on a touchdown. Tom Brady really didn't have a game really hitting up to his standards. He did throw an interception in the game. Completed only 52% of his passes, so he was 20 out of 38 for 257 yards. Through the air. Both of those did throw 2 touchdowns in the game. Both of those touchdowns went to Gronk, who had 6 catches for 83 yards. Now, we'll give the Patriots defense some credit here. They've been struggling this year against the pass, giving up a lot of passing yards. But in this contest, they were really good against the run. They held the Jets to only 53 yards rushing in the entire day, which made the Jets' offense one-dimensional. So Josh McCown did go 31 for 47, 354 yards. In every game this season, our defense, New England's defense, has given up 300 yards passing to every quarterback they faced this year.
Wow, that's pretty bad.
So that's something they need to try to really work on. Maybe try to find a way to get a better pass rush or, play better defense or man coverage. Whatever they need to do, because each quarterback has really had a field day throwing the football against us. McCown did have 2 touchdowns, did throw an interception. The game came down to going down the stretch of the game. There was a controversial
2 interceptions.
He threw 2 interceptions.
Yeah, Tom Brady just had 1.
Oh,
yeah.
Look at Tom Brady just had 1, and McCown had
2 interceptions.
2 interceptions. Okay, so 2 interceptions. Look at me. Trying to discredit my defense, from what they did. So they had 2 takeaways.
That's what I'm saying. I'm giving it to you, letting them know that Josh McCown lost it to the defense 2 times. So that's what I'm saying. I'm adding on.
I'm proud. I'm proud of that. I can't believe I missed that, but thank you. Thank you.
No problem.
But down the stretch in this game really came down to a controversial touchdown that was taken off the board for the Jets. It was caught by Safarian Jenkins. The Jets were down by 10 points at the time, so 14-24 was the score. And on the play, it was ruled a fumble and a touchback for the Patriots.
Good old.
I thought, in just looking at the play, watching the game, that it was a touchdown. But by virtue of the rule book, and we always
we
seem
know how
to
the
get
Patriots
those
play with the rule book.
Oh, it's not the Patriots; it's the officials.
It's the Patriots.
At the end of the day, we had nothing to do with that call.
If you look
they reviewed the play, and conclusive evidence veered its ugly head for the Jets and cost them a touchdown.
How many officials does Robert Kraft own?
I don't think he owns an official. I know he owns a pretty great football team.
I'm pretty sure
that's won 5 Super Bowls.
Pretty sure he has a great officiating crew too. Because I've seen a lot of plays just get officiated into their favor throughout the years, as well as rules that get changed in their favors after they abuse them. But yeah, it was a good win for the Patriots.
So we're not going to go down that road. But the Patriots do win it.
And this is another thing.
24-17.
I just saw Tom Brady set the NFL record for regular season victories by a quarterback, getting his 187th win this past week.
Regular season win at that.
Regular season.
212 overall in his career if you include the playoffs.
I didn't want to add all that. But...
And how many Super Bowls was that again? Yeah. So big win for the Patriots. They're now 4-2, and they are back in first place in the AFC East, which makes me happy and puts me in a good mood.
Yeah, I respect that. They needed that.
But I will give it to the AFC East. Every team in the AFC East right now has a winning record.
That's good.
Because usually it's just the Patriots, and everybody is just like
and something.
Yeah, or sub 500 record. So it's a pretty tough division. But Patriots get that victory.
They do.
Who do you got next?
Next game I have here, the San Francisco 49ers against the Washington Redskins. Both of us did go with the Redskins, and the Redskins pulled out in a close game, 26-24. CJ, I'm not going to say his last name, starts with a B. Beathard, the quarterback for the 49ers.
Yeah, that's what I got down. Yeah, that's how I would say it.
Went 19 for 36, 245 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. On the other side of the ball, Kirk Cousins went 25 for 37, 330 yards, 2 touchdowns, and just 1 interception.
Mm-hmm. Now, I will throw out a pretty fun fact here, just looking at some of the stat lines of this game. San Francisco defense had 4 takeaways in a loss. Most of the time, if you're a defensive unit and you can take the ball away 4 times from another team, usually that's a recipe for a victory.
Right.
But unfortunate for the 49ers here.
It's the 49ers.
5th straight loss by 3 points or less sets an NFL record.
Still winless.
So, pretty tough for the 49ers there.
You know what? Honestly, I know that puts you in a bad mood. It doesn't put me in a bad.
It's not a bad mood. It's just one of those things like, ouch. Yeah.
I mean,
it's tough because they're competing, so it's not like they're just getting blown off the field. But it's just like to lose that many games by that slim of margin, it's got to be tough. So right now they're 0-6 on the season. The reason why the quarterback's name that you were afraid to announce, C.J. Beathard.
Okay. It sounds better when you say
Brian Hoyer was benched in the game. And that's how this rookie quarterback was inserted into the game.
He should have been.
And he almost led an impressive comeback as well. Because you do know the Redskins were up 17 points in this game. Another team like Atlanta, same week, blows a 17-point lead. Fortunate enough for the Redskins, they were able to hold on and win.
Yeah.
But the 49ers have been battling. They just have had some tough ones go the other way against them. And, they always say football is a game of inches, or it's a game of making 1 or 2 more plays than the other team can sometimes be the deciding factor in the game.
And a last stat, and I'll just add on Kirk Cousins, I didn't realize it earlier, had a 7-yard touchdown at the end just to kind of keep that lead on them. So I had to just add that for him. And Chris Thompson did a good performance as a dual player, having 16 carries for 33 yards and 4 receptions for 105. So that was a good game for him.
That was huge. Redskins do get the win. They keep pace in the NFC East. So the next game we have is the Tampa Bay Buccaneers versus the Arizona Cardinals. And we all learned last week Adrian Peterson came over to the Cardinals and after being traded away from the Saints. And his first game as a Cardinal was a blast from the past. Good job, AP.
Yeah.
Put me in a really great mood to see him getting back to his old self.
Definitely. I must admit, even though I did bet against them, I did, for whatever reason, I went with Tampa Bay. I believed in Winston. But, yeah, like I said, I'm glad to see, because I didn't see the game actually, but I'm glad to see these stats and Adrian Peterson starting to, get comfortable in a good team again.
He put on a show, man. 134 yards, rushing, 2 rushing touchdowns in the game. In 4 games with the New Orleans Saints, he only had 81 yards total rushing and 0 touchdowns. And like I told you from week 1, I just felt that he just did not fit in to that system with New Orleans. It just didn't look right. And this is, to me, is a perfect fit for him right now. Carson Palmer had a pretty good day, 18 for 22, 283 yards, 3 touchdowns, did throw an interception. And Larry Fitzgerald had a productive afternoon, 138 yards receiving and a touchdown reception in the game. And head coach Bruce Arians for the Arizona Cardinals says, obviously it was a great day for old guys. Basically saying,
that's a good one. Basically
saying Carson Palmer, Larry Fitzgerald, and Adrian Peterson literally was the reason that they won. So.
Yeah, and going back to this game on the other side of the field, another quarterback that a team lost, Jameis Winston, hurt his right shoulder, another shoulder injury in the second quarter, which is why their backup was Ryan Fitzpatrick. And he had a pretty decent game coming in as a replacement, 3 touchdowns, 290 yards, but did have 2 picks. But like I said, it was a good day for old guys.
Yeah, and then from what I'm hearing, reports from Tampa Bay is that, virtually on Twitter, Jameis Winston says he don't think he's ever missed a game, and he don't think he's ever going to miss a game.
So he'll be back.
So he's thinking he'll be back this week. That's just the tough guy that he is. He wants to be out there, in everything, trying to help his team win any way he can. I'm hearing that it's an AC joint sprain in the throwing shoulder. So it is pretty tough. So I don't know if he'll be able to overcome that. If so, I don't know how effective he'll be, but hopefully he can.
Unless we find out he's ambidextrous and can use his other arm.
Yeah, but tough loss. They did come back. They did, fight back. It was a 38-33 game, but Arizona gets the win.
Scored 27 in the fourth quarter.
Yeah.
Just wasn't enough to, like I said, to take the lead in the end.
Yep. What's the next game you have?
Next game is the LA Chargers going into Oakland to overcome the Raiders. The Raiders.
I miss Chris Berman, man.
I do, man. I miss Boomer. I did call this game. I did call this game. You did go with the Raiders, and they pulled it out. LA Chargers 17-16. How did you feel about this game?
I didn't know how Derek Carr would come out and play. He's just had, it seems like ever since that Redskins game a few weeks back, he's just not really playing at the level in which he played last year.
Yeah.
San Diego's second straight win after an 0-4 start. So they're trying to right the ship there. Derek Carr returns after the back injury. Nick Novak actually hit a 32-yard field goal for the win on the final play of the game. Finally, a kick goes LA's way at the end of a game.
Right. So definitely
Chargers. Finally. Some clutchness.
and Phillip Rivers. I'm just always happy to talk about Phillip Rivers. Like I say, he's been always a good regular season quarterback. He just can never get over the hump in the playoffs. But had a good game, 268 yards, went 25 for 36 with just 1 touchdown. So.
Yeah, and the 1-point difference was due to an extra point missed by Raiders kicker Giorgio Taficcio. I do not know how to say his name. I will spell it for you. It is Taveccchio.
I think you said it right, Taficcio.
Tavecchio. I don't know how I said it. I know it's
Tavecchio. Sorry, no, it's
I have
Tavecchio.
no idea. So if I'm saying that incorrectly, it is honestly I don't know how to pronounce it. So, but he was the reason.
Okay.
At the end of that's the 1 point difference because he did miss an extra point. The Raiders now have lost 4 straight after a 2-0 start.
It's pretty bad, man. I had high hopes for the Oakland.
I did too. I thought they would be one of the premier teams in the AFC this year. Derek Carr threw for only 171 yards, did throw 2 interceptions in the game, did have 1 touchdown pass. And the Raiders play on a short week on Thursday Night Football against Kansas City, which is tonight. So that game is probably getting close to kickoff pretty soon, probably about 20, 25 minutes away from
8:04 right now, just if you're keeping up with
8:04
this.
Eastern Standard Time right now for us. So we're going to keep you updated on that game throughout the podcast to keep you guys informed of what's going on if you're not watching it or, however it goes. Next game, what do we have?
Next game we have New York Giants overcoming Denver, beating the Denver Broncos 23-10, and both of us went with Denver. Didn't see this game coming.
I didn't.
I mean, knowing that eventually New York will finally get a win, and also considering the fact that he lost 4 wide receivers just recently, so he pulled it out, man. Eli Manning, you got to believe in him. Sometimes.
Yeah. Giants get that first win of the season at Mile High. This has been an injury, as you were just saying, an injury-ridden team all season. A completely different team on Sunday night without their top 3 receivers. As we know, Odell Beckham's out. We got Brandon Marshall out. And forget the other. Shepard's out as well.
Yeah.
So, but what really stood out to me was the running back Orleans Darkwa. Had a first 100-yard rushing game of his career. Had 117 yards rushing on the Denver defense, who has shut down some of the top running backs they faced this season. Just to name a few, they held the Chargers' Melvin Gordon to 54 yards rushing. Ezekiel Elliott only to 8 yards when they faced him. LaShawn McCoy from Buffalo was held to 21 yards rushing when he faced Denver. And Beast Mode, when Oakland played him a few weeks back, was only held at 12 yards. So for this, out of nowhere running back, situation for the Giants, for him to come out and have a 100-yard rushing performance against a defense the caliber of the Broncos was huge. Evan Ingram had a touchdown catch in the game. Janoris Jenkins, Jack Rabbit had a pick 6 on Trevor Siemian, who actually left the game in the second quarter, and we had a Brock Osweiler sighting in this game. I don't know about all that.
Wow, man, you got to believe in the Brock.
He used to be a backup in Denver for a while there for Peyton Manning. They kind of snatched him out at the end of the season to let Peyton Manning ride off into the sunset to win that Super Bowl. Simeon did come back, thank God. And he came back in the game in the third quarter. Emmanuel Sanders was lost in this game. The receiver for the Broncos with an ankle injury left the game. But the Giants look like a totally different team in this game. Glad to see them finally get that first win of the season.
Right. Eli Manning, 128 yards, 1 touchdown, just going 11 for 19. So hopefully Eli can build off of this. That's really what it is. Because, now, considering the loss of the receivers he had, I feel like now the offense is truly going based off of him. Because I feel like in the beginning of the season it was kind of in between him and Odell, more so leaning on Odell being the star of the team. So I feel like without him, maybe Eli can grasp hold of this team and kind of push it how he wants to now.
Yeah.
So.
And the last and final game, we didn't really have much on Houston and Cleveland. I don't really think we need to go into that game. I will hit at it. Houston won that game, 33-3 over Cleveland?
Yeah. 30. Oh, you talking about the Browns?
The Browns, yeah.
We didn't do the Colts Titans.
Yeah. I know. That's why because I know we didn't write down the Houston and Cleveland game, but I don't really think we need to really go.
Nah.
into that. So we just know Houston won.
Deshaun Watson had a great game, 3 touchdowns, 1 interception.
So that's the story of the game right there. Monday Night Football is the last game we had down. Colts versus Titans. I'm gonna be honest with you, I didn't watch the game.
Yeah, me neither.
We did know Marcus Mariota returned, snapping the Colts' 11-game win streak against the Titans.
Wow.
Yeah.
Man, they had that streak against the Titans. But I guess you think back in all the years, it's been Peyton Manning beating them. So
Peyton Manning, Andrew Luck as well. Still yet no word as to when Luck is coming back for the Colts. Mariota did go 23 for 32, 306 yards. Derrick Henry had pretty much a 72-yard game-clinching touchdown run to seal the deal. Now, I will want to throw out that the Monday Night Football ratings has dropped considerably. This game had a season low of a 6.1 in the meter market results. That means not a lot of people are tuning into Monday Night Football as they used to.
Everybody's watching Raw.
Everybody's watching WWE, The Shield.
I honestly think The Shield might have pulled in a lot of those Monday night viewers. I'm just saying.
Maybe. We also got playoffs going on too. MLB playoffs.
Oh yeah, baseball playoffs. So you can't expect much.
The eve of the NBA returning. And to be honest with you, with the NFL, the Monday Night Football games, a lot of these games are garbage games. Yeah, I feel like this is your prime time game. We need to see the best matchup on Monday nights to make people want to watch. Colts, Titans. Last week was Bears and Vikings. I think the only Monday Night Football game that's going to have any type of really relevance is this one coming up next Monday with Philly and
the rematch from this first
Redskins.
game.
Yeah. But
I'm gonna
since
like that
then,
game.
all these Monday night games have just been not that great.
Yeah.
I think the opening week we saw a really good game with the Broncos and the Chargers. Came down to the end, but since then it just hasn't been a lot of great games.
Yeah, it really hasn't. But yeah, both of us went Titans, and no, both of us went.
Who do we go with?
We went Colts.
Yeah, we thought the Colts were going to win this game because I anticipated that Mariota wasn't going to play.
That's true.
That was why I went with the Colts.
I went with them,
but I said if he played, they probably would win. But
and they pulled it out, 36-22.
He did play. He wasn't as mobile, from what they were saying, and some of the highlights I saw.
I saw he actually played more like a pocket passer. I actually saw a couple of those highlights, and it was really nice to see that about him. Because, like you said, he's usually been the one to just run around and throw it at the end, kind of Russell Westbrook, kind of. Russell Wilson. The NBA season has gotten to me. Hey, that's all right.
Come on, C Moody.
Week 2 of the mess up, so it's just. But yeah, it's like I said, he was playing good from a pocket passer position.
Yeah. So he put up some big numbers. Titans. This is a huge win for them because they could have failed at 2-4, and right now that AFC South division is kind of up for grabs. You got Jacksonville, you got Houston over there, you got Tennessee. So Indy's in there too. So this division is still up for grabs for pretty much any team. So the Titans did a good job of getting this win and avoiding a bad upset at home to keep pace. So that rounds out the weeks of picks for us. I think we tallied each other. I went 6-8, and C Moody went 5-9.
Yep.
So that put me at 51-40 on the season. C Moody's at 53-38. So 2-game lead for him. The lead just continues to dwindle week by week. So that's how things shaked out for week 6. So now we're going to get ready to reveal our top 5 after week 6. I think I'll have the pleasure of going first here.
Okay.
Definitely, this top 5 really this is probably my most stressful top 5 of the season. And at number 5, you're going to laugh.
Uh-oh.
I'm gonna have a 3-way tie at number 5.
A 3-way tie? Well, hold on. You got to say what your last week's tie.
Okay, I really write it down, but
you want me to
have it? Yeah, tell me who I had here.
Last week you had at number 5 is the Philadelphia Eagles. Number 4, Atlanta Falcons. Number 3, Green Bay Packers. Number 2, Carolina Panthers. And number 1, at the time, was the undefeated Kansas City Chiefs.
Yeah, all that changed this week.
Oh, man. Everything?
Yeah.
Wow.
So here we go. Number 5.
Let's see this 3-way tie.
3-way tie. I had to throw my boys from New Orleans in there.
The Saints?
The Saints at 3-2. 3 straight wins. This defense playing well after an 0-2 start. Many people may not agree, but I wouldn't want to play the Saints right now.
Okay.
They're looking pretty good right now for me.
Okay, I respect that.
And the other team I have in there at 5, it's a 3-way tie. It's a love-hate relationship with this team for me, but Pittsburgh. That was a huge win to go into Kansas City to beat the team that's been the best team in football all season.
That's true.
Given the way you just lost the week before to Jacksonville, and to go in there with the poise that they did and to go into that hostile environment, Kansas City Stadium is probably one of the loudest in the league, and to go there and win that game, I think just by virtue alone, they got to be in there.
Okay.
Now, I do have Atlanta in there still at 3-2, but if anything, if I had to take one of these 3 teams away, it would be Atlanta, just by virtue of losing to the Dolphins the way they did.
Yeah.
So I still think Atlanta's a respectable team, but we expect this from the Falcons. They're up and down, so they were pretty much the same last year and before they hit that nice little run as they went on to the Super Bowl. But they had some pretty tough losses last year and some head scratching losses last year, just as we see this past week with the Dolphins also. If anything, I'm going to go ahead and take them out. Just the more I talk about it, the more I just want to go ahead and
get rid of Atlanta.
Yeah, Atlanta, you're out of there. So I would say it's a 2-way tie. New Orleans 3-2, Pittsburgh 4-2.
Okay.
Number 4 for me, making their way back into my top 5. My New England Patriots.
Look at that.
At 4-2.
Sooner or later they will
I'm still not sold completely, but I still think they're still one of the best 4, 5 to 6 teams that's out there.
Okay.
Now, the last couple of weeks, they have not been there. Going on the road, beating the Jets, the way the Jets have been playing as of late, giving all the things that they've faced on defense, and still finding ways to win these close games. And keep pace right now. I got to put New England there at 4-2. Brady and Belichick, you still got to give them the respect for just their, resumes itself.
Got to.
You still got to give them respect. So I got them at number 4 this week. Number 3. A lot of people may not agree with me on this, but I kept Carolina in there. Okay. I just feel it was a tough loss. It was. But I still think this team. A lot of people feel like, they're up and down. I don't think they're gonna be there. I just feel like this team still has a lot to prove and a lot to show. And I know Cam had a rough game last week, but I still think Carolina's tough. They still have a good, sound defense in place. And, Cam Newton still shows that he can take off and fly when he needs to. We saw that in the game last week as he tried to make that dive toward the pylon. See Kelvin Benjamin still trying to get back in the flow of things as well. So I still think Carolina is there. Especially now with Aaron Rodgers being injured, that could open up another spot in the NFC playoff picture if Green Bay doesn't hold on to make it.
Okay.
Number 2. First time this season slipping out of the number 1 spot, Kansas City. 5-1.
Wow, they dropped off of one loss.
One loss. I had to drop them. to Pittsburgh. It's a tough loss, but I mean, I feel this is the reality check they needed. You know, I really think they needed a reality check. So you think they're going
downhill from here?
I don't think they're going to go downhill, but I just think that I got to knock them down to lose that game. It was still a close game and allow Antonio. It is Antonio Brown to get free and to beat you that way at the end. So they're still the top tier team. I still think they're the best in the AFC, but I knocked them down. But I have a new number one this week.
Who's the number
one?
Are
you ready?
I'm ready, man.
Fly like an eagle.
Okay. I respect that.
To the sea. Fly like an eagle. Yeah, I love that song. If you don't know what that song is, that was on that Space Jam soundtrack years ago.
The classic.
Yes. Philly at 5-1. I'm gonna go ahead and respect these guys.
We're gonna respect.
I'm gonna give them the respect. Okay. They've just been quietly every week, just taking care of business. I like what Carson Wentz is doing. This is a dangerous football team right now, and they're not really showboating. They're not really arrogant or boisterous with it. They're
you don't hear nothing about them throughout the week.
Yeah, we're just gonna go out there and play football and win and take care of business. I think Carson Wentz is getting better. He's looking like a NFL quarterback, and he's only going to get better as it goes along. Now, I do know the fact that Kansas City did beat Philly when they played a couple weeks back, and a lot of people say, well, maybe you need to throw Kansas City over Philly because they beat them.
Right.
But that's Philly's only loss of the season is to Kansas City.
Yeah.
Everybody else they've taken care of. So that's my top five. Started with a 3-way tie, but we kicked Atlanta out.
Last minute decision.
Yeah, last minute decision. New Orleans at 3-2. Pittsburgh at 4-2, tied for 5th for me. New England at 4-2. Carolina at 4-2 at number 3. Number 2 is Kansas City at 5-1, and number 1 is Philly at 5-1.
Eagles. Okay, I must admit, right while we were doing this recap, and up until you started with 5 and 4, I was trying to write out my new top 5.
Okay,
and I think I've made a. You're gonna laugh. You're gonna laugh a little bit at this one, but I will explain it. And one part might not be so much as logical versus personal, but we'll see as we come along. But last week's top 5 started. It was my number 5 was the Panthers, number 4 Eagles, number 3 Falcons, number 2 Green Bay Packers, and number 1 Kansas City Chiefs. So this week, starting my top 5. Get that off. The Houston Texans. I have the Texans in there just because Deshaun Watson has been playing phenomenal football. The defense has been moderate. They still, like I said, they still have things to work on. But if they can really lock down on defense and let Deshaun continue to do what he's been doing, and with the possibility of him being any better, considering this is his first year, is that right? Is this
rookie year?
I can't see any reason for them to not be anywhere. To not go down. Well, I don't see any reason for them to go down if they can get better and fix those little things in the defense and in the offense that they need to work on. So that's why I have them at number 5.
I guess I can respect that.
Okay, thank you. I like I said, I didn't know if that made sense, but I really like them, despite them being 3-3. So number 4 is a tie. I have a tie at number 4. That's it.
It's getting kind of interesting here.
So I would say the one I added last minute was Carolina Panthers, because I do respect in their loss that they're still 4-2. So I do like them. But the other team that I've newly added to my list is the New England Patriots.
Oh my goodness. It is going to snow butterflies.
Not snow butterflies.
In the morning.
But
you have the who and the what?
I have New England Patriots at number 4.
Unicorn.
And I wrote that before you wrote
rainbows
yours.
and unicorns and butterflies, man.
Oh man, yeah, I must.
You got me want to play the New Day theme song.
I was thinking that. I was like, we're gonna have to play New Day in a minute. Yeah, they're a good team. They've always been a good team, and they're even though to typically just saying the names, them beating the Jets, I mean, it sounds pretty obvious, but like I said, the Jets are they have been number 1 in their division. So, I mean, they are better than what they have been recently. And then besides that, the wins that the Patriots have, accomplished recently, I can't look away from that, any longer. So,
and then they have Atlanta this week, so this will be a proving ground for them as well.
Number 3 for me now. The LA Rams. I knew that would put you in a bad mood.
I understood Houston.
But here's why.
I understand Houston.
But here's why. Do we not realize that they're 4-2 right now?
I realize that they're top 10.
And now I want you to think of this. Now we can go back and forth on how good or how bad Jacksonville is. But Jacksonville has had some phenomenal games against traditionally top tier teams, being the Steelers and the Ravens. More so the Steelers, because like you said, we can go, we talked about who Joe Flacco is right now. Offense isn't really showing up. Joe Flacco is pretty inconsistent. But the Steelers, that game said a lot to me about the Jaguars. And for our Rams, like I said, in a bit of hindsight, it was the special team that won that for us. Because they gave us 14 points. If it wasn't for those 14, it would be 13-7. So, but no, it wouldn't be 13-7. I can't do math right now. That is right, 13-7. Yep. Either way, for them to beat them like they did, and I truly didn't see it, and I bet it against them. I can't bet against them right now. They have to be number 3 for me, and that's why. I believe in my boys. I believe in the whole. Listen, man, don't give me that. This is going to be a good look in the upcoming weeks. But that's why they're at number 3. Number 2 is the Philadelphia Eagles. I can't put them at number 1. I just can't. Which, by me saying that, I'm going to go ahead and spin off this number 1. Number 1 remains for me, Kansas City Chiefs. And the reasons, like I said, because that one loss the Eagles have is to the Chiefs. And the Chiefs just took their first loss of the season to the Pittsburgh Steelers. That, despite me saying how good of a team they've been throughout the years, they've been rocky. Ben Roethlisberger had bad performance. So for him to show up against them, it doesn't scare me with the Chiefs. When the Chiefs beat the Eagles, it showed me that they have dominance over the Eagles. Mm-hmm. But when the Steelers beat the Chiefs, it was just like, they got one. They got one on us, in that sense. So that's why the Eagles are at my number 2, but I have to keep, Kansas City at number 1. And that is our top 5 of the week. And to recap mine is number 5, Houston Texans. Number 4 is a tie between the Carolina Panthers and the New England Patriots. Number 3 is my LA Rams. I had to put them up there sooner or later. Number 2, Philadelphia Eagles. And number 1, Kansas City Chiefs.
And I'm just going to roll on into the next segment of the show. I just have so many arguments. Just for the sake of time, we'll have off-air conversations about that. Yeah, we'll roll fine. On. So we're just going to keep rolling with the NFL. We're going to change it up a little bit, given the fact that we do have a lot of sporting things that's going on as the sports calendar continues to get more busier by the year.
And the fact that there's a game going on in 3 minutes.
Yeah, so we want to go ahead and get our Week 7 picks out. Usually we save this to the end of the show. If you've been following our podcast, again, thank you guys for all the support. We do have the iHeartRadio up and running.
Yep, you can find us on iHeartRadio as well. Sports Moves, just type it in. You should see us.
Yep. Also follow us at Twitter at SportsMoods and on Instagram at It's SportsMoods. Again, we thank you for everybody's, tuning into us and giving us the support and, helping us gain more fan base by the week. NFL picks for Week 7, Thursday Night Football, which is just moments away from getting underway in Oakland. The Chiefs and the Raiders, two AFC West rivals, going at it. Kansas City 5-1, coming off their first loss of the season, taking on the Raiders, who lost 4 in a row after the 2-0 start. C Mo, who do you have?
Oh, Chiefs.
Gonna go with Kansas City. So am I. I just hate it for the Raiders that they possibly could be 2-5 after this game.
Yeah,
they had like you said, they had so much promise coming into this, into being in the situation that they're in with not a truly healthy Derek Carr. Mari Cooper has fallen off the face of the earth for me as a receiver. Really came into the league with a lot of promise at the wide receiver position. I think Alex Smith bounces back. I think he has a really good game. I think Tyreek Hill could have an impact on this game as well. And Kareem Hunt as well. I think Kansas City just has a lot of weapons at their disposal. And Alex Smith running that West Coast offense, I think, will give the Raiders defense some trouble.
All right. So just for the benefit of hindsight, I guess the phrase I would say, or for the sake of saying it, the fact that the time right now is 8:29 p.m.
Eastern Standard Time. And while we're recording this, even though you will hear this and be uploaded later, both D Moody and C Moody have both picked for the Kansas City Chiefs to prevail over the Oakland Raiders for this Thursday Night Football game. We aren't, this isn't something that's going to be later. We're saying this now, before the game starts. Yep. So, next game, Minnesota versus the Ravens. For me, I picked Minnesota. I just don't trust Flacco. They lost to the Bears. They've had some up and down scenarios. The blowout loss to the Jaguars. Minnesota plays pretty good style of defense. I like what McKinnon is doing. Case Keenum has really been playing really well, doing some good things. So I'm going to go with Minnesota over Baltimore in this game.
With Minnesota over Baltimore.
I believe in Fluco.
Huh?
DTF, man.
All right.
Don't trust Flacco.
I don't know, man. I don't want to really bet against Baltimore as a whole, not just Joe. But I must say that while I was doing my top 5, I was contemplating putting the Vikings at number 5.
No,
so
you weren't.
I can honestly say, if you could look at my paper, you could see a little bit of a V erased on my number 5. So
I think that's a little bit overboard, but there's still a pretty respectable threat out there.
Yeah, just because of the threat of them. Like I said, it's just like the Texans for me. I had to put somebody that was a threat up there for me.
And I don't truly agree with the Texans there, but I get where you're coming from with it. The way they play, the way they played New England, the way they played against Kansas City.
Exactly.
So they
for me, my number 5 was just the promise of a better team.
I understood that.
So I'll agree with you and go with Minnesota on this game.
All right, next game I have is the Jets versus the Dolphins. Miami 3-2, the Jets 3-3, AFC East battle here. For me, even though the Dolphins just came off of an impressive win down in Atlanta, I don't think it carries over into this week. Anytime you're playing a divisional rival, you play twice a year, you know each other very well. The Jets has already beaten the Dolphins earlier in the season in New York, and I think they go down to Miami and do the same. I'm going to go with the Jets over the Dolphins. I like what the Jets are doing. McCown is really playing well, and I don't trust Jay Cutler. I know Ajayi is always a threat to really have a breakout game. Devontae Park, I'm not sure if he'll be starting this week or not. Hopefully Kenny Stills or Jarvis Landry can really step up for Jay Cutler from the offensive side of the ball, but I'm just going to go with the Jets to win this game.
Yeah, I'm going with you on that one. I agree.
Can you stop agreeing with me?
I have.
It doesn't work out when you do.
Hey, well then, guess what? Neither one of us gets ahead of each other. So
that's what you're aiming for,
right? Gotta at least stick with you. I mean, but I do like Miami. I really like the team, but the Jets have been playing better football all around. So I can't go against them. I really can't. Not with Miami, which are a good, decent team right now, considering that there's a lot of worse teams right now in the NFL than Miami. But against the Jets, I'm going with the Jets.
Okay. Next game I have the Red Hot Saints, winners of 3 straight after the 0-2 start, taking on the Aaron Rodgers-less Green Bay Packers. And I think that's going to play a big role. I think the backup is going to come in. Hundley's going to do some nice things. I still think he's going to be going through some growing pains as he's asserting himself into this role for the Packers. I like what the Saints are doing defensively right now. I want to see what impact Willie Snead could have. With him being back last week, he didn't really get a lot of playtime last week. But, I mean, I'm going to go with Drew Brees and the Saints to win versus Green Bay.
Yeah, honestly, D Moody, I'm sorry. I'm going the Saints. I'm agreeing with you. I don't see any hope in Green Bay without Aaron Rodgers, especially not in offense. Now, their defense might do some good things, but as far as offense,
think about it now. He's still got some good weapons, man. You got Devontae Parker. He got Jordy Nelson. So if you're in a backup scenario like that, I mean, you got some really good weapons to throw the ball to. Think about it years ago with Matt Castle as a backup quarterback. When Tom Brady went down, he still did some good things with Wes Welker. He still did some good things with Randy Moss. Randy Moss still had a 1,000-yard season with Matt Castle at quarterback. So Green Bay's got some weapons. It's just how will this young quarterback run this offense? So I'm trying to make you change it. So I guess you're not having it.
That's all I heard. It's just I'm going.
I'm just saying, man. It could be a good thing.
That was a very good that was a good case you gave me. But yeah.
I mean, we don't really know much about this kid, so. And then most of the time when you have defenses out there who've never really seen this guy on film, you don't have a lot of film work to work off of to know what's his weakness, what's his strength, what can he do. All they have to work off is what they saw last week.
And you know what, man? You're really right. We really don't know anything about this quarterback.
So you're going to change your pick?
I don't care.
Man, I'm trying to get you to change your pick. I thought I had
sir. What's next?
Next game, Panthers and Bears. Now, the Bears have just been that trap game for some teams this year. Ravens and Steelers fans. But I think Super Cam comes out in this game and he takes care of business. He does what he's supposed to do.
Let me pick the next game. Stop picking my teams.
I'm not. No, you're picking my teams because you're picking after me. So
exactly. That's why I said let me.
So
pick
it makes
first.
it seem like you're copying what I'm doing.
That's why I said let me pick first.
I'm going Carolina to win this game. Chicago. I don't really know what to say about this team. They show some signs, and to me, they're winning the games that they're not supposed to win and losing the games they should win.
What are their only 2 wins? Against
the Steelers and the Ravens.
So a broken Ben Roethlisberger, who really doesn't know if he should consider football life anymore, and your favorite guy, Joe Flacco. I'm not going with Chicago. I'm just not. Now, if y'all win, if Chicago
y'all
wins,
win,
good for you. but I'm going with Carolina.
Yeah, I'm going to go with Carolina on that too. You pick the next game. Let's see if I'm thinking what you're thinking, because we have agreed on all the first 5 games.
Yes, we have. So the next game, which I think this one might be something that we'll disagree on. We have Tampa Bay Buccaneers going up against the Buffalo Bills. For me, now, like you said, Jameis Winston should be back, but he did injure his throwing shoulder. Possibly will have some difficulties throwing. And I kind of like the Buffalo Bills. I mean, I can't say much I've seen from them this year. I haven't really followed them, but I just generally like this team. They're growing to be a good, dominant, at least regular season team that can at least get over 500. So I'm going Buffalo.
I actually took Tampa Bay.
There you go, man. Finally.
And the reason why I think Jameis Winston, I hope he doesn't come out and make the injury worse. But they got some good stuff going. You still got Doug Martin you got to think about. He's still a respected running back in the league who can carry the load for them. Maybe put Jameis in play action scenarios, maybe some short dump down throws, some little screen passes here and there. Their tight end Cameron Brate has really been playing really well over the last several weeks. So, and the only reason I know this is because I have him in one of my fantasy leagues, and he's been racking up some points for me. He's their primary target, and a quarterback security blanket in a lot of situations is the tight end. So, you still got Deshaun Jackson out there too, who's kind of more of he's just not a vertical receiver. You know what I'm saying? He can run routes. He can, play the slot, 8-9 yard catch here, 7 yard catch here, 5 yard catch here. He can dink and dunk the field. He doesn't have to really strain that arm as much, trying to hit 30 or 40 yard passes down the field. Buffalo does have a tough defense. But if Tampa can run the ball, control the tempo, and take care of the football, I think they have a chance to win the game. That's what I'm going with.
I like your case.
I'm always going to present a reasonable case.
You have a really good case, but here's my thing. Like you said, he can possibly do the whole dump short passes. But from Buffalo, if I'm Buffalo, I'm going in thinking that's really all he got. His arm is not going to be strong enough. Now, I'm not going to say...
Now, if he runs and learns how to slide, that can help him out.
He's not going to learn it this week. So like I say, that's going to limit him his running game because, like you say, he's been like a tough runner. Doesn't really know how to just slide in the traditional quarterback scenario. So for me, I'm getting at this quarterback if I'm Buffalo. I know the field's already shortened because of his limited capabilities if he does play, and I would just lock down everything from there. Not like you say, I do agree. Deshaun Jackson, he's gonna get a couple of good, nice plays out of whatever kind of short routes they do. But still, no.
I'm going with the Bucs, man. I think the Bucs get it done, man.
Hey, man, you go ahead. You buck on.
Nook, if you buck, why? But go ahead.
Yeah, next game, I got I'm going to go ahead and go to this game just because I got it up here. Probably because my ESPN has it up top because I follow it. Arizona Cardinals going into L.A. to face the L.A. Rams. You know who I'm going with. And now, I'm not just saying this not to be personal about it, but the Rams are good run defense usually. So I'm seeing a stoppage for Adrian Peterson. A lesson for Adrian Peterson this week. A lesson in his yards and whatever. Fitzgerald, he's going to do whatever he wants because he's Fitzgerald. But if we can stop everybody else, I got LA. Just off of the defense. I think the defense is going to win this game. I don't expect the special teams to have another breakout thing or whatever. I think it's going to be just typical defense, do their part. Todd Gurley, he has a good running game. I don't see the Cardinals' defense stopping at least his run game. And yeah, go ahead. That's it.
I have to disagree with you there. Okay. I'm going to go with the Cardinals. Adrian Peterson is a game changer.
He is.
He really is. And then, just in 1 week with a team to come out and have that type of performance. And to me, I feel like it's only going to get better for him because now he has free reign. He's not being held back. They're going to use him just the same way they did David Johnson. Now, I would say David Johnson was a better catcher of the football out of the backfield for Arizona. It's going to come down if Carson Palmer can take care of the football. He had a really good performance last week. We know he's going to get the ball to Fitzgerald. If that offensive line can protect Palmer, open up running lanes for Adrian Peterson, keep the Rams defense on the field, which keeps Jared Goff and the Rams offense on the sideline. And then maybe if Arizona's defense can try to find a way to limit Todd Gurley and may get pressure on Jared Goff to cause him to kind of make some mistakes here and there. Yeah. I think again, it's a divisional opponent. You know this team better than you do most, but then this is a new piece. They've never faced the Cardinals with an Adrian Peterson in the lineup, so it's a game changer. It really is. So I'm gonna go with Arizona to win.
And you kind of made a good point when you said something about keeping the defense on the field. The Cardinals have been really good with maintaining tempo.
Mm-hmm. And the time of possession is everything, man.
It really is.
Especially when you're able to run the ball with dominance, you get to control that clock, and you get to kind of dictate, how many shots that other team gets at it on the field. So,
no thanks.
All right. All right. So next game, I think we'll agree on this. Marcus Mariota back in the lineup, coming off a win versus the Colts on Monday Night Football, taking on Cleveland Browns. Now, Cleveland, I have one question. C Moody brought up a stat, I think a couple weeks ago. I think he said their head coach, I want to say Hugh Jackson, was 1-19.
Yeah.
And this has been 2 weeks later, so he's probably like 1-21 as the head coach of the Cleveland.
Cleveland doesn't care. When
are we going to go ahead and get rid of this guy?
They don't care.
You going to let him finish the season?
Yeah.
1-21. I mean, I was calling for Marvin Lewis's head hard.
Yeah, you really were. First 3 weeks.
And I think if he's depending on how he finishes the season, he still needs to go in Cincy.
Right.
But Cleveland, 1-21, Hugh Jackson's got to go. But, I mean.
Yes, they should have been let him go.
One game out of 20-some games, you got to go. But I'm going to go with Tennessee for obvious reasons over Cleveland. Yeah. I just feel Mariota and the company will do what they need to do to win. Derrick Henry, DeMarco Murray. I really want to see Eric Decker have an explosive game. I mean, he's got a lot of good talent. He had some good seasons with the Jets and with the Broncos. So I just want to see him be more involved in the offense. But I think Tennessee will get that win.
Yeah, I'm with you. That's it. I'm with you.
You sound like the Hillary Clinton campaign. I'm with her.
I'm with her.
I'm with you.
I'm with you, man. It's Cleveland. You need to get rid of everybody. You just need to make a new team from the ground up.
Maybe join the Cleveland Browns and the Bengals together and just make it one team.
They should. They might get some more wins.
I don't know. I don't think it'll be.
What's the next game you got?
Next game I got Jacksonville and the Colts.
Okay.
In this one, I picked Jacksonville. I think they'll bounce back this week. This is just a scary, team, man. I week to week, I don't know what to expect.
Exactly.
When I pick against them, they blow people out by 30.
Right.
But then when I pick them to win, they lose. So I don't really know what to do with Jacksonville. I actually like the momentum and energy about this team. Injury and energy. I can see how I can mix those two words up. Right. But I like what they have going on. And as far as Indy very well could win this game and bounce back after the loss. But I'm going to go with Jacksonville just for the sake of picking. And I picked them to win.
Just looking at their past wins and losses.
They're tough to pick. I mean, they're tough to choose for, man.
They really are. But, I mean, who are we playing?
It's playing the Colts.
The Colts? I mean, the Colts haven't really been much of anything lately. Like you said, how disappointing they put them in Monday night. Yeah, let's just go Jacksonville.
Jackson, I do have a scoring update right now. In the Chiefs and Raiders game, Derek Carr has thrown a touchdown pass to Amari Cooper for 38 yards. This is about 5 minutes ago in the game. As I just mentioned before we started, Amari Cooper has been non-existent for the last few weeks, so it's now a 7-point lead in Oakland for the Raiders right now, as of right now.
Hold on now. 7-3.
It's 7-3. Okay, so it's 7-3 right now, so KC must have got a field goal.
Yeah, they started off with Harrison Butker.
With the field goal?
53-yard field goal to start it off, and then Amari Cooper scored.
Scores the touchdown. Pass. Okay. So it's 7 points on the board for Oakland for Derek Carr. That's got to feel good. We'll keep you posted on how things are going throughout this game as we move along. So the next picks we have right now.
Who you got next?
Dallas and 49ers. Cowboys coming off of a bye week this week. So going against the 49ers, who've lost a lot of close games by slim margin, I think 5 straight losses by 3 points or less. And I really want to see them at least get one win. We do know the Cowboys more than likely not going to have Ezekiel Elliott this week. I'm not really sure if he'll be able to play with everything that's going on with this whole legal thing. Excuse me. But I am going to go with Cowboys to win this game. I think they bounced back after the tough loss to Green Bay a few weeks ago after the bye week. I think Prescott has a pretty good game. I think maybe Cole Beasley will be a dark horse player in this game.
Dark horse?
I said dork, didn't I?
Yep.
Dark. I always say dork instead of dark. I don't know. It's dork outside.
It's dork outside.
Yeah, I don't know why I do that.
From up north?
I don't know. I must. It was from Jersey or somewhere right quick. Like it's dork out there, bro.
It's dork, man.
But
you know what? I have Dallas. In the beginning of the season, I said Dallas would be the team to go to the Super Bowl.
Yeah, you did.
And they haven't been having it. Like I said, they haven't been having some good weeks lately. I feel like maybe it's been coming because of the going back and forth with Ezekiel, and then just some regular, just connection. This chemistry is falling between some of the teammates. So you would feel like this would be an easy game, but like you said, San Fran haven't been just being blown out. They've just been finishing. They couldn't finish. They can't finish.
Yeah, and that's the thing in NFL. You have to be able to finish these games. Sometimes it's a matter of plays. 1 or 2 plays could decide a game, whether you win or lose. So
I'm going San Francisco.
Oh, you're going to upset.
I'm going with the upset, man. I don't want
the
it.
game that gets you right there. That's going to be the game.
That is. I know.
Give me the lead right there. That's going to be the one.
This is going to be it too.
And we're going to be here next week, and it'll be like, yep, that Dallas San Fran. When I'm leading by 1 game, that's going to be the game.
No, man, no. And we got 3 games that could go either way so far that we win against them. We've agreed on a lot more than usual, actually. But the next game we have is the Cincinnati Bengals going up against the Pittsburgh Steelers. And I like this rivalry that has been becoming of these two teams. And I just say that because of that little wild card game they had, which I thought was like an awesome game, even though despite all that injury and foul play that happened towards the end of that game. And, I don't know how I feel. I'm really torn because I want to give the Bengals this. I really want to give it to the Bengals. But considering how Pittsburgh did just beat the last unbeaten team, I'm going Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh.
Yeah, with me, I just don't trust Cincinnati. Again, I've been calling for Marvin Lewis's head.
Yes,
not only just from the beginning of the year, just over the last few years. I mean, just being of his playoff record.
Yeah.
But my thing is, I mean, the Bengals are so topsy-turvy. I mean, you got A.J. Green, one of the better receivers in the league, and Andy Dalton has just not reached that full potential as a big-name quarterback in this league.
Yeah.
He's respectable. Sometimes he can put up big numbers, and then sometimes he comes up really small in big-game situations, and I think we're going to see another one of those situations here. So I'm going to go with Pittsburgh to win the game. Le'Veon Bell, I think, runs the ball well. I think he's gaining some momentum as the season is going along. And Antonio Brown is always that threat out there. So I think Pitts gets it.
Okay. Next game I got is Denver Broncos going into L.A. to take on the Los Angeles Chargers. For me, this is another game where I'm kind of torn into. But I'm going to give the edge to the Chargers, just to say the least. I feel like maybe they're starting to rally themselves up with this last win. So we might see a better performance offensively, from them.
Mm-hmm. And you remember the last time they played the first game of the year? A lot of teams are a lot different from what they were the first week of the season. We've already been about a month and a half, going on almost 2 months into the season right now. And then given off the way they lost that game to New York Giants this past week, and the Chargers beat the Giants. So I think this week I'm going to go with LA this week.
Look at that.
Yeah, I'm going to go with the Chargers to win this game, and I know they're not going to win because I picked them to win. And that's usually how it's been this season for me. So I'm going to go with the Chargers to win. Phillip Rivers could put up some big numbers. Hopefully Melvin Gordon, I know his first time around against the Denver defense was tough. He had a tough outing against those, but hopefully they can try to work a game plan to really get him engaged and get him going.
Okay. So let's see. The next game we have Seattle Seahawks going up to New York to take on the New York Giants. The Gentle Giants as of late.
The Gentle Giants. Okay.
But they have just gotten a win on the board, and maybe they could rally into Seattle to take another one from Russell Wilson.
Sure it's not Westbrook.
I had to make sure. So I had to stretch that last one just to make
Wilson, sure. And he had that look like.
Is that the right one?
For me again, Seattle is this is probably one of the more quieter seasons in Seattle. Definitely. Usually, you have a lot of noise coming from that side of the country with the Seahawks and. With the Giants coming off that big win versus the Broncos, we're going up against another tough defense this week in the Seattle. The Giants going up against another tough defense in Seattle. Man, I like what I saw with the Giants last week, man. The way they ran the football. I like their tight end, Evan Ingram, and what he brings to the table for them. It's just like a brand new looking team that a lot of people don't have a lot of film on. A lot of new faces and a lot of new places.
So what are you saying?
Where's the game being played?
At New York.
Giants.
Wow. This man's going with the New York Gentle Giants.
Now, I know Eli is one of those type quarterbacks to build me up, let me down, but any given Sunday he could fall flat on his face. But I think the Giants will win this game. I just got a gut feeling they'll beat Seattle.
Oh, wow. I'm going to Seattle. I feel like you said, I agree with them having their quiet year so far. Besides starting off the year with that controversy amongst their defense and just not having chemistry in the team anymore, I feel like they're starting to build back together. And I think they needed this. Mm-hmm. They needed that so that they could break away from all the media that they've been a part of for so long. So now they can just regrow together. Mm-hmm. So I feel like, that's another sleeper team that we aren't paying attention to. And that's why I'm giving it to them.
It could be. The next game I have is Sunday Night Football. The defending. Now, how does Paul Heyman say it? The reigning, defending, undisputed NFL Super Bowl champion, New England Patriots. Going to be hosting the Atlanta Falcons in a rematch of Super Bowl.
I hope they
of the Super Bowl. So
I hope they destroy
Super Bowl 52.
Now that Matt Ryan's been paid off by New England and Bill Belichick.
Here we go.
He can have his free reign on them like he should have had, or he should have finished at the Super Bowl. But, besides all that, it's going to be a good game between the two. But as much as I don't want to, I'm giving it to New England.
I think New England's going to have this game. I'm just having a feeling that my boy Brandon Cooks is going to have a huge game.
Really?
I think Brady and him is going to toy with this Falcons defense. I know Atlanta has a pretty tough defense, but I just find out that the scheme of things of how they're going to game plan for this game, I think Brady's going to have a huge night.
Yeah.
And I think Brandon Cooks is going to be a big reason why. And I just think that, I think it's going to be a back and forth game. It's going to be a lot of points scored.
Yeah, definitely.
So I don't really see it being a low scoring game. So I think New England will edge it out.
But this is what we really need to watch for, and this is going to be the sleeper that's going to be the determining factor of the game. Is Robert Kraft's of referees and officiating crew.
And we're going to move on to the last and final game of Week 7, a Monday Night Football game. Finally, a Monday Night Football game worthy of my eyesight.
Definitely.
That's going to be easy on the eyes, as the old folks say. Because the last few weeks, as we know, the Monday Night Football ratings are just tanking.
Yes.
I think when the schedule makers make these schedules, they need to...
Yeah, you got to pick something.
I know you want to give everybody some airtime. You want to give teams that really don't, because you don't want to see the same teams each and every week.
Don't put the JV teams up there.
But I don't. I want to see some meaningful games on the prime. It's Monday Night Football for a reason. It's the prime time. It's the last game of the week. Give us an entertaining game to watch. And this is going to be one. Philly and Washington here. I've been juggling back and forth all week. We know Washington can always be that team that plays really well. And then they'll underachieve. So it's just been the cycle of that with Kirk Cousins. I like what Philadelphia is doing right now with Carson Wentz.
You put them at number 1.
I put them at number 1. They're my number 1 ranking team right now over Kansas City. I could have put a tie at number 1 though. That should have been a tie, but
it's all right.
That's where the tie should have came in at. But I'm gonna go with the Eagles, man.
You're going Eagles.
I think Philly keeps it rolling, man. They got some good things going for them right now. The defense is playing well. The offense is in sync. I'm going with Philly.
Yeah, I agree with you, man. I'm going with Philly. I like everything that they're doing. Well, even though Washington always plays them well, this is always just a great overall match to watch between these two, the bitter rivalry. I really like this game, and I wouldn't be surprised if Washington pulls this out.
I wouldn't either. I wouldn't.
But I'm still giving my edge to Philly. So
cool. So that rounds out our Week 7 NFL picks, and that rounds up our NFL segment this week of Sports Moods. We put it all together instead of usually at the end is when we do our NFL picks, trying something different this week. So we recap Week 6 of the NFL, seeing where we were right and wrong. We revealed to you our top 5, and then we went on into our NFL picks for Week 7. So we're going to close this segment of Sports Moods out. We're going to come back and get into some college football, reviewing the week in college football. We had a lot of upsets in college football this week that we're going to go over and reveal to you the new top 10 and the upcoming big matchups this week in college football. This is Sports Moods, 2 Moody's,
1 Duty.
Sports.
We'll be right back.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. You are listening to Sports Moods, 2 Moody's,
1 Duty,
Sports. So we've already talked about everything NFL, reviewing the Week 6 picks, where we were right and wrong. Also revealing to you who we think is the top 5 in the NFL based off C Moody and D Moody's perspective. And we also went into who we thought would win in Week 7. Do we have a quick update on the Raiders and Chiefs game right now?
Give me one. Oh, I do have I have the update. As of right now, with 40 seconds left in the first quarter, Oakland Raiders are up 14-10. The last score is coming from a 45-yard pass to Amari Cooper.
So he's got 2 touchdowns already in the game?
Yep, 2 touchdowns, both to Amari Cooper.
And that's very weird how I was just saying, like, man, Amari Cooper has been falling off the face of the earth, and then just already I'm looking at my fantasy football score right now, and he's got 29 points for me in fantasy football already. And then in another league, I have Derek Carr, and right now he has a total of 17 points already for me with 2 touchdowns, already 133 yards passing just in the first quarter. So, hopefully the back is not showing any signs of giving him any trouble right now. But that's the NFL. We're getting ready to get into college football right now. And this week was what I labeled it as Upset City.
Upset City.
So a lot of overcast and rain and thunder and lightning for some teams that were shocked. And we're going to kick it all off with the defending national champion, Clemson Tigers. A wild Friday the 13th for them. I actually had 2 upsets on Friday the 13th. Syracuse defeats number 2 Clemson at home 27-24.
4-3 Syracuse.
4-3 Syracuse. And I was talking with some buddies this week. Man, Clemson lost to a basketball school, man.
Exactly.
When you think of Syracuse, I think of Jim Boeheim and the college basketball side of Syracuse.
Man,
or their lacrosse team is really good as well. Oh. But, other than, I don't really think of them as a football team.
No.
Even though Donovan McNabb, that was the college he played for.
Was it?
Yep.
Huh. What are the odds?
College football, Donovan McNabb, Syracuse alum. But
didn't they lose? Didn't they get cheated by? Lose to the Patriots too in the Super Bowl, or was that a different team?
We're talking about college football. Right? I thought that's what we were talking about.
I'm sorry.
You're just kind of getting off track.
Let's keep
tonight,
the story going.
Mr. C Moody. But Kelly Bryant came into the game already with a lingering injury. He left with a concussion.
Oh, man.
Finished the game with 3 carries for 4 yards. Just a rough day for him. The Syracuse defense was just all over him in that game before he went out with the concussion. Also, a 52-yard touchdown by Travis Etienne and a 37-yard touchdown run by Tavian Feaster for the Clemson Tigers. Once Kelly Bryant left the game with the concussion, redshirt freshman Zarek Cooper went 10 for 14 for 88 yards, but the Cuse teed off on him, sacking him 3 times. Clemson had a lot of miscues in this game. They had 2 missed field goals from 34 yards and 38 yards. Special teams on field goals this season for Clemson, just 4 out of 10 in the kicking game this year for the Tigers. So kicking issues across the board for Clemson this year.
What is going on with kickers this season?
I just don't understand, man. On the pro level, college football level, the confidence isn't there. The accuracy isn't there. It's just, I don't know. You have one job. One job. One job. If the snap is good and the hold is good, it's up to you to put it through the uprights. So
I guess kicking is pretty hard to.
It's strategic because you do have the weather conditions that can play a factor. Which angle you're kicking it at, from which hash you're kicking it from. So it is a tough position, but that's all you're there to do. You're not getting hit on every play. You're not having to block another 300-pound person in front of you.
Exactly.
All you have to do is stand there, measure it.
And then you have the rules to protect you if somebody runs into you.
Or hits you.
Yeah, so really you have no worries except to kick a ball.
Kick a ball to the uprights. That's it.
How about that? Sports.
Yeah, man. It is, man. The Cuse QB, Eric Dungy, went 20 of 32 for 278 yards. Did have 3 passing touchdowns, leading the Orange to 27 points and 440 total yards against one of the nation's best defenses. So Clemson suffers that first loss of the season. They are now 6-1. Anxious to see how their quarterback situation is going to play out with Kelly Bryant being out. Tough loss to an unranked team. Anxious to see where Clemson falls in the top 10 standings as of this week. But the defending champs get that first loss and lose their quarterback in the process.
Okay.
So the next game I have, Upset City, continued. Arizona State, unranked, defeats number 5 Washington Huskies. As we remember, the Washington Huskies were in the college football playoff last year, winning the Pac-12 to earn a berth to get to the college football playoff. Suffers their first loss of the season. This is their first loss since losing to Alabama in the college playoff last year. Basically, just to sum it up, it was a lackluster effort from the Huskies. The Sun Devils of Arizona State scored on 3 of their first 4 drives, and their defense is known for giving up some of the biggest plays all season, but they didn't do that this week. They held the Huskies to 230 total yards and only allowed 7 points. So Washington State, not Washington, well, they're coming up too, but Washington loses their first game of the season. It was a low-scoring game, but still at the end of the day, they were number 5, and Arizona State gets that win against them.
3-3, Arizona State.
3-3, so unranked. You know, and most of the time when you lose to an unranked team, you tumble down the rankings pretty fast. Another Friday the 13th upset. California defeats number 8 Washington State. So it's a rough weekend for the state of Washington at this point.
Just after the last few weeks talking about
how both of their, programs are undefeated. This was a thumping right here. 37-3 Golden Bears pounced on every Washington State mistake. And a fun fact about this game for me was the fact that Cal lost their last 3 games by a combined 62 points.
Wow.
But then turn around and beat Wazoo by 34 points. So it's just like, that's college football for you.
Yeah.
It is college football at its best. On any given Saturday or Friday in this case, anything can happen. You just go out there and play well and, have a good game plan, and anything can happen regardless of the records.
And Luke Falk having an embarrassing game with 5 interceptions.
Yeah, 5 INTs in the game. So that's why I said they took advantage of every mistake.
Yeah, 7 turnovers.
Yeah, 7 total turnovers in the game. I mean, this is a Washington State team that beat the USC Trojans a few weeks back. And then this is a California team that really gave USC a tough game a few weeks back as well. But the Pac-12 see 2 big upsets of Washington and Washington State going down. They were ranked number 8 going into the game. Pretty sure they're not going to be there after this week.
Nope.
Then another top 10 team goes down. Remember how we gave LSU a tough time a couple weeks ago when they lost to Troy? They've been on the road the last 2 weeks. 27-23 win over number 10 Auburn. Suffers their second loss of the season. We do know going into this game, Auburn only had 1 loss on their record, and it was to Clemson early in the year. LSU's head coach after that loss to Troy, Ed Orgeron, was on the hot seat after the loss to Troy. But since then, back-to-back wins over ranked Florida Gators and the Auburn Tigers. So
it started 20 down.
Yeah, they were down 20. Was able to rally back the Rally Cats.
The Rally Cats.
And they pulled it out and won another tough SEC game in back-to-back weeks. So I think that is just those 2 wins alone should secure his job for the rest of the year.
Right. Also, I just added the stat thinking about returns. We've been talking a lot about returns in the NFL. DJ Chark in the 4th quarter having a 75-yard punt return.
Yeah.
To get them to 21. And then, of course, the efforts of when field goal kickers do their job, Connor Culp, 42-yard and a 36-yard at the end of the game to give them the league and to solidify it.
Yeah. So we saw 4 major upsets in the top 10. We saw number 2 Clemson go down, number 5 Washington, Number 8, Washington State. And number 10, Auburn. I am so ready to see how this top 10 looks. I mean, that's almost half of the top 10 teams losing this week. And a very unexpected losses there for me. It was just an upset city this week for me. You know how the NBA Rip City? Yeah, this is upset city.
That's funny you say that. I was thinking more so of Brock Lesnar's Suplex City.
Upset City. Yeah, that too. True. So whatever city you want to call it, in those particular cities this week, tough losses, especially close to home here in Clemson. A lot of Clemson fan base here in South Carolina, and for them to suffer that first loss, hopefully they can get things turned around pretty quickly. Other notable games, Big Bad Bama 41-9 over the Arkansas Razorbacks. We saw the Georgia Bulldogs in the first half. It was a tough game. They went back and forth with Missouri, but they were able to pull away 53-28 to remain undefeated on the season. Oklahoma won a close one over Texas in the Red River rivalry, 29-24. I'm still thinking did Mayfield, is he yet to throw an interception?
Not that I know of.
Mayfield still got that streak going with no interception. So 29-24 win for the Sooners. Ohio. Nope. Is it over?
Yep, in Texas. That game against Texas, he threw his interception.
So the streak is over. Sorry, Baker. But, I mean, you got to give it to you. To get through almost 6 or 7 games in college football against really good defenses like that, to not throw any interceptions for that long period of time is good. Taking care of the football. That's still going to give him a lot of Heisman hype.
Definitely.
Because of that. I mean, we look at how Sam Darnold just week by week, every week, he's a top prospect, but he continues to be very careless with the football. Ohio State 56-14 over Nebraska. They're slowly climbing back up after that Oklahoma Sooner loss a few weeks ago, and they planted that flag in Ohio State's field. And now we done seen all these top 10 teams lose, so Ohio State could be
making their way
reaping up the rankings there for Urban Meyer and company. So USC Trojans, I actually watched this game. This was a very entertaining game. USC versus Utah, 28-27 final. Utah went for 2 and went for the win and missed the 2-point conversion.
Wow. Instead
of playing for overtime, they actually called a timeout. You know how sometimes some teams will come out and line up just to see what the defense is going to look like, to see if they want to go for 2. So then they came out, called a timeout, went right back on the field, went for 2, did not get it, lose the game by 1 point.
Sheesh.
28-27 win for Sam Darnold and the Trojans over the Utah Utes. TCU, Horned Frogs. I think that's just what is a horned frog?
I've seen it before.
I've never had the pleasure of seeing a horned frog.
I wouldn't call it pleasure.
It's not a pleasure.
Wouldn't call it pleasure. It just looks like a really rocky bullfrog. If I can, last I remember, I'm not sure.
I had to maybe Google a picture that, in between the break one time just to kind of see what's a horned frog. But anyway, the Horned Frogs went over Kansas State 26-6. TCU still remains unbeaten.
Go ahead. Are you still talking about the TCU game?
Yeah.
Go ahead and finish. I got a fun fact about TCU.
Well, go ahead. I was done. Go ahead.
Okay. No, the fun fact for me is there was a time I went and saw the Peach Bowl, the Chick-fil-A Peach Bowl. I think it was 2014 when they played Ole Miss.
Yeah.
And it was funny. I went to the game and genuinely, because we got these tickets from my cousin, because he, some of his family member worked in security. Okay. In-laws. Okay. And so me and my cousin, we went to this game, and I didn't know TCU stood for Texas Christian University. Mm-hmm. So for me being a Christian, when I heard it, I was like, oh, I am definitely for them. And I went and bought a T-shirt immediately.
Seriously?
Yeah, I immediately went and bought a TCU shirt. But the funny thing is, the side we had our ticket on was Ole Miss.
Ooh.
So they were like rough fans. So I immediately rolled my shirt up and put it in my hoodie because it was cold. So I had a hoodie. So I had it in my hoodie, and they were just Ole Miss was just going on because they got blown out in this game. Mm-hmm. And so we had a couple of people. There was one lady in particular. She was going on about how Ole Miss wasn't doing good, and we were like, "Yeah, man, I don't know what's going on with us."
You're like, I don't care about either one.
No, we had to act like we were Ole Miss. Like we was like, I don't know what's going on with us this game. But every time nobody
Rebels
looked
versus the Christians,
right?
Ole Miss Rebels.
And so it was funny because, like I said, my cousin, he picked on me because I didn't know the team, like didn't know the name of Texas Christian TCU's team. But I was a super fan, and we stayed after the game with the TCU as they presented the award. And I was doing the whole little horn frog sign that they all do, and I did it to him like for the rest of the week. And he was like, "I'm a hypocrite because I didn't even know who they were until I got there."
But another fun fact too. You know what NFL quarterback went to TCU?
No, which one?
Andy Dalton.
Wow.
Yep.
I'm a little disappointed.
He played. Wow, man! Wow. Wow.
Oh man, Andy Dalton. I'm sure he's a great guy.
Yeah, he is. He is. I'm pretty sure he is. The Dolphins. Oh, what? You got me thinking. Really, not the Dolphins. The Hurricanes. I just had Miami written down. Maybe I need to write.
Oh yeah,
Miami Hurricanes. I was like the Dolphins. I was like, that was random. The Miami Hurricanes. Sorry guys. 25-24 over Georgia Tech. That was actually a close game. There was a lot of inclement weather in that game. A lot of rain.
Yeah, it was initially postponed, right?
Yeah, it was, and then they were able to make this one up, and it still ended up raining and stuff for the game. I think it was for the hurricane when Irma came through there. Or was that postponed?
It could be. I'm not
sure. Yeah, it could have been. Probably was during the time of Irma coming through that area in Miami a few weeks back, and they made up this game. And Georgia Tech was winning at first, and Miami had to rally to come back to win by 1. Miami's still unbeaten on the season.
Hey, can I say the last two? In the fourth quarter, Travis Homer had a 27-yard run, but they failed the 2-point conversion, which was why they were still down 24-22. And the last 4 seconds, Michael Bagley, I think I said his name right, hit a 24-yard field goal to give that 1-point lead. So I thought that was really good that they still were able to, they tried to tie it, but they were still able to find a way to come back and win the game before the end of it. So, and like I said, they're still unbeaten, number 11.
Yep. Wisconsin Badgers still undefeated as well, winning a close one versus Purdue 17-9. Michigan Wolverines bounced back after that loss last week in the Big House to the Michigan State Spartans. They won in overtime 27-20. Speaking of the Michigan State Spartans, they were able to win over the Minnesota Golden Gophers. Golden Gophers and Horned Frogs.
Right, it's pretty interesting name.
Pretty interesting name. I'm pretty sure that's. I'm pretty sure. I think I know what a gopher is.
I was about to say I don't think I've seen a gopher.
I think I've seen a gopher before.
Really?
Like a picture. I've never seen one in real life, but I think I've seen a picture of one. But Michigan State won that one 30-27. And then the Stanford Cardinal 49-7 stomping of Oregon. Man, has Oregon fallen from grace in college football? Man, just a couple of years, 3 or 4 years ago, they had a good run, of a good 5, 6, 7 year run as just being
one
top,
of the top
teams in college football, and then now it's just kind of like
they bought too many jerseys.
Yeah. That's one thing I loved about them. Every week, I just anxious to see what kind of jerseys they were going to have on.
They always were like the most stylish of teams, definitely.
Yeah, but you know why they get that big endorsement from the Nike headquarters.
I heard, isn't it something about someone's in the family with Nike or something?
Yep. And they kind of get Nike to kind of use them as guinea pigs for different designs and stuff for their jerseys and stuff. So
that's fun.
And then bring it all back in near and dear to home. The South Carolina Gamecocks win in Knoxville, Tennessee, 15-9 over the Volunteers.
Look at that.
And they end their losing streak to Tennessee. Gamecocks are 5-2 on the season, 3-2 in the SEC East. Tennessee falls to 3-3 and 0-3 in SEC play. And due to that 0-3 record in SEC play, their head coach Butch Jones' job is now in jeopardy. We remember weeks back, when the Volunteers played the Gators. Remember that Hail Mary?
Yeah.
That was a loss they had, and now losing this close one to South Carolina here. Butch Jones is on the hot seat in Tennessee in Rocky Top.
Oh man, Butch.
Tennessee led the game 9-3 at the half. Second half, South Carolina gained 219 yards of offense, tied the game up at 9-9 on a 20-yard run by A.J. Turner, who rushed for 86 yards in the game. South Carolina took a 12-9 lead on a Parker White field goal with 5 minutes and 17 seconds left in the fourth. And then they went on to win the game 15-9. Now, Will Muschamp, the head coach of the Gamecocks, is now in his career is 6-0 versus the Tennessee Volunteers.
Wow.
And that's combined with his couple of seasons he had as the Florida Gators head coach and now as the South Carolina
Gamecocks
head coach as well. So
that's interesting.
they are 5-2 on the year, so it's still a pretty good year. It's a really good year for South Carolina. I'm still not sold. I don't expect anything, great. But I mean, 5-2. It's alright. It's alright. But I mean, we do know right now who the team is in South Carolina right now. The guards have changed over the last few years. With Clemson.
Definitely.
So now, anxious to see, does South Carolina have a chance to maybe upset Clemson later in the year with this whole Bryant Kelly situation? So we'll see. That is a thing that's to come. Now we're getting ready to get into our top 10 in college football as it stands.
Okay. Let me hear it.
Number 10.
Number 10.
Oklahoma State at 5-1, up 4 spots from last week.
Okay. Getting into the 10 picture.
Yeah. They were there, but remember when they lost to TCU?
Right, they dropped down.
And they dropped down a little bit, so they're working their way back up. Number 9, Oklahoma Sooners in Baker Mayfield at 5-1, up 3 spots from last week. We do remember their only loss of the season came at the hands of the Iowa State Cyclones, but they're up 3 spots from last week. Number 8, Miami Hurricanes, still undefeated, 5-0.
Yeah.
Up 3 spots from last week. Got that close win this week over Georgia Tech. Number 7. Looks so weird seeing them there. Clemson Tigers, after that loss to unranked Syracuse, dropped down 5 spots.
Talk about a fall.
Yeah, that's a tumble.
Oh, yeah.
That's a tumble. Humpty Dumpty had a great fall. That's not too bad, but I mean, they're still there in the middle of the pack. So they still got a chance to kind of come up, but they did drop 5 spots after that loss to Syracuse. And look who's easing on up the chain here. Ohio State.
Back up there.
Number 6. After that loss to Oklahoma early in the year, they've rallied off 5 straight wins since that loss, and they're up 3 spots from last week for the Buckeyes. Number 5, Wisconsin at 6-0, up 2 spots after their win over Purdue, cracking into the top 5. Number 4, TCU Horned Frogs. CJ is a fan, maybe not sure what his commitment is to that.
I forgot Just go ahead.
They're 6-0, up 2 spots from last week. But keep in mind, just a few weeks ago, they were number 16 when they beat Oklahoma State.
Yeah.
And then they've been constantly moving up the food chain here over the last few weeks. So cracking into the top 5, TCU at number 4. Number 3, Georgia Bulldogs, 7-0, up 1 spot from last week, representing the SEC. Number 2, Saquon Barkley in Penn State at 6-0, up 1 spot from last week after the Clemson loss. They're now the new number 2 team in the nation. They got a tough game coming up this week, and we'll reveal that to you, who they're going to be facing in just a few moments. And number 1, Big Bad Bama.
I mean, this is almost the obvious.
I'm pretty sure a lot of people are surprised by that. Nick Saban and the Tide at 7-0 remain at number 1.
The pinnacle of college football excellence right now.
Yes, for sure. Top matchups coming up this week in college football. Then we're going to let C Moody hit you with the Heisman hopefuls. We got Oklahoma State Cowboys versus the Texas Longhorns. I feel that could be a trap game for them. Texas is pretty tough. We've seen them give a tough game to Oklahoma this year, as well as they gave USC Trojans a tough game earlier in the year as well. Speaking of the USC Trojans, they're going to be facing Notre Dame in South Bend. That's going to be a really good football game between those two teams as well. Two ranked teams going at it there. Tennessee gets to be the next on the platter for Big Bad Bama. We already know Butch Jones. His job is on the line, so I'm pretty sure a devastating loss to Bama. They could go ahead and cut the cord after this week for Volunteer fans. Then we got the primetime matchup of the week. Michigan on the road. Wolverines going to be going in to take on Penn State Nittany Lions and Heisman hopeful Saquon Barkley, the number 2 ranked team in the country. And that's some of your big marquee matchups coming up this week in college football. Now we're going to turn over to C Moody for the Heisman hopefuls.
All right, guys. The Heisman High Five, as far as October 17th, stands as this. Number 5, from Wisconsin, we have Jonathan Taylor. In the past 2 weeks, he has runs of 67 and 75 yards and is averaging 8 yards a carry so far in the season. The last game he rushed for 219 yards with 1 touchdown. He has 986 yards for the season. At number 4, I don't think he was up here last week. I think he's returned into the top 5. Mason Rudolph? I think he's returned. Oklahoma State. This past week, he had 3 passing touchdowns with 459 yards in the last game. So for the season, he has total 2,368 passing yards.
Man.
And at number 4.
Big numbers.
Yeah. At number 3, Baker Mayfield stays on this top 5 board from Oklahoma. This past week, he had 2 passing touchdowns, 302 yards. For the season, he has 1,937 passing yards with 17 passing touchdowns. His rating is 207.3, and his completion percentage is 72.7%. At number 2, we have Bryce Love, running back from Stanford. His last game, he had 2 rushing touchdowns, averaging 8.6 yards and 147 yards rushing. For the season, he's had 1,387 yards rushing with 11 rushing touchdowns. And at number 1, we have, remaining at number 1, Penn State's running back, Saquon Barkley, having 2 rushing touchdowns, 75 yards rushing. Still just having good performance, which keeps him at the top of the leaderboard. And for the season, he has 649 yards rushing with 6 rushing touchdowns. And that is your Heisman High Five for the week.
All right, man. Saquon Barkley still holding it down, man. Hopefully he's got a big test this Saturday night against Michigan, hopefully on the primetime stage. Last time he played a Saturday night football, man, he had a huge game and a huge performance, and hopefully he can shine again in the bright lights again. So we're going to definitely get ready to wrap things up here with college football. We reviewed everything from all the upsets that took place last week. We revealed to you the new top 10 in college football, shaking things up with all those, upsets. Seen some new teams climbing up the rankings over the past few weeks. And now we've already hit you with the big matchups coming up this week. Getting ready to close this segment of Sports Moods out. Coming up next, we're going to get into the WWE Monday Night Raw on the Go Home show of their Raw exclusive pay-per-view, Tables, Ladders, and Chairs. And we're going to cover SmackDown Live, talk about everything that happened with that. And we're going to also give you our picks of who we think are going to take the matches, the TLC pay-per-view. Sports Moods, 2 Moodies,
1 Duty.
Sports.
And we are back, guys. As always, it is C Moody here with
D Moody.
And we are Sports Moves, 2 Moodies,
1 Duty,
Sports. And we've already given you everything in the NFL this past week and given our NFL predictions due to the fact that there's a game going on right now as we're recording. The Kansas City Chiefs are in Oakland taking on the Oakland Raiders, and I'm giving you an update on it right now. The score is currently 17-14 in favor of the Chiefs, but the Oakland Raiders do have the ball with 6 minutes, just over 6 minutes left in the second quarter. The last score was given by a pass to Tyreek Hill from Alex Smith for 64 yards. That's what's going on in the game right now.
I felt Tyreek Hill would have an impact, in that game. We're switching things over. We have MLB playoffs going on right now as well. Keep you guys updated on what's going on in the National League Championship Series. As we know, the LA Dodgers lead that series 3-1 in the best of 7. Right now, they are pitching a shutout of the Cubs right now in the 4th inning. They are leading the game 9-0, looking to clinch their first World Series berth in 29 seasons for the Dodgers. Last World Series appearance was in 1988 when they last won it all. So the Dodgers looking to be the first team to clinch the World Series berth. And then tomorrow night, the Yankees will travel to Houston to try to close out that series versus the Astros as they lead that series 3-2 over the Astros after trailing 0-2 in the series, winning the last 3 to take the lead to become 1 game closer from going to yet another World Series for that historic franchise in the New York Yankees. Imagine an LA New York World Series.
Best of the coasts.
The battle of the coasts.
Yep.
West Coast versus East Coast. So that should be pretty amazing.
Pac and Biggie reborn.
Yeah. So we're getting ready to switch things over to the WWE right now. I just want to give you guys some updates on what's going on. We have NBA games going on as well. We'll get you guys updated on those when we get some scores of what's going on around the association. But right now we're going to have C Moody rolling the things for us for Monday Night Raw, the go-home show for Tables, Ladders, and Chairs. Oh my. Time
for some good old wrestling. And now Monday Night Raw started off with Kurt Angle coming out to just talk about all the little matches that goes on in this pay-per-view coming up. But then you hear the little code words. I can't remember all of them. It's Echo something Delta
Sierra Hotel.
Hotel. I don't know.
Is it Indigo?
Possibly.
Echo.
I know Echo. I don't know what L is.
Lima.
Delta. And
Shield.
then you hear Shield. And then Nostalgia Reborn. They have the vest on. Dean Ambrose looks crazier than ever. And they all stand there for a moment to let everybody soak in as they come in through the crowd, as they used to do when they started, when they debuted. And they come into the ring. And they come in traditionally surrounding the ring, kind of giving Kurt Angle a little eye of saying, okay, it's time to get out. Time to get out the ring now. So,
yeah, that was, I was glad because last week we said, hey, it'll be Shield Reborn if they come out through the crowd with the wardrobe, with the combat gear, with the combat boots, and to see that, I mean, that really made it for me. It really made it feel like this is actually the Shield.
Yeah. And so they come in again, and now they're talking about how it doesn't matter. They're still going to dominate. And Dean specifically says that it doesn't matter how many people they face. It's like, I kind of spoke too soon, and now we have 4, but it doesn't matter. It can be 4 or 5, which that's an inclination for something later. They're still going to dominate because they're the Shield. Then The Miz comes out. And before anything can happen, Kurt Angle's still in the middle between the two. And he's like, I'm not going to let any of this happen because tonight's going to be the greatest night ever. And they have a match. They have matches set out in between these several people that's going to face. Mm-hmm. They have the tag team rematch between Sheamus and Cesaro versus the current tag team champions, Seth and Dean. And then Braun Strowman and Roman Reigns will be locked in a steel cage for the main event that night. Then the first actual match comes into a tag match, a 6-man. I know how D Moody loves the multiple people matches. And it started off with Elias and the Good Brothers, which is Luke Gallows and Carl Anderson. And they add on to Elias's, opening up with song. And I thought it was a very funny segment for them.
I did,
too. So I really liked them.
Especially when they were warming up their voices like, what did he say?
I care.
I was like, when they were doing that, it was really funny. I like the club, man.
Yeah, they really are good. And I don't know, maybe this 6-man tag is showing some signs of new factions to face the Shield. I'm just saying. I think that, I mean, of course, we're hoping for the Finn Balor, the club, the Bullet Club, but...
Thank you.
But now, here's something that I'm going to say right now before I get into this match. Now, WWE is in some disputes with the actual Bullet Club right now. Because, I don't know if you know, a couple weeks ago, the Bullet Club did like not a riot, but they kind of an invasion of Raw before, like, from the outside of the stadium, and they did all this, like, they kind of did it reminiscent of how DX did the same thing for WCW. Mm-hmm. And so, from that, WWE sent them a cease and desist letter for them to no longer use the too sweet hand gestures. So, which I thought was more so Wolfpack versus...
Yeah, NWO really brought that out.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Made it really mainstream.
So, but now...
I mean, the Clique started it all with Shawn Michaels, Nash, Hall, and Triple H. But
so, I feel like maybe if WWE has any intel of, what the Bullet Club was, they're not going to bring Finn Balor back with Carl and Luke right now. Because they're battling... They're battling the actual Bullet Club, so of course they can't bring that together. So I feel like
you don't have to say Bullet Club, but just say the club.
But they know,
or make it a faction or with a different name. Whatever you need to do to get those.
The crowd knows. The crowd knows, and the WWE doesn't want that. They don't want any indication. Indication. I can't talk.
Indignation. That is a word.
That's a word, but it wasn't a word I wanted to use. Indication of people knowing that they have some kind of Bullet Club in the WWE. Because I'm sure if they do form, the Bullet Club is going to announce it via whatever social media formats that they use. Mm-hmm. So they can't have that. But anyway, this match, 6-man tag between Elias Sampson, the Good Brothers, versus Jason Jordan and Titus Worldwide. So, which I actually like their faction too.
For me,
huh?
It's great.
You didn't like it?
I like the opening segment. I just didn't care about this match.
Now the end segment was good to me. The ending between everything, because it pretty much just kind of fell into everybody coming in. Titus hit Carl with a boot, and then Luke hit him with the boot. I think Apollo hit somebody with something, and then it all ended up, of course, with Jason. Jason Jordan taking somebody out the ring, and then Apollo hits the finisher. With that little German suplex spin into the power bomb, which I really like that move. I think it's really creative. And so they won. So I like that, and I think they can be another 3-man faction. Listen, man, factions are going to take over. And speaking of factions, there's a really good one that I like right now, and I'll talk about that later on. But so that's what happened. You say you didn't really like that match.
It was okay. I just, what are we doing with these people?
Like, they definitely aren't.
They're trying to keep it relevant. I mean, keeping the same ones fighting to make, I guess, a little mini storyline out of it. But
but I'm just happy that I don't have to see Elias versus Apollo anymore.
Yeah, well, there's something different now. Now, just for that, that's different.
And then in that, we actually finally see Apollo getting a win. And
I could actually see Elias with them.
Yeah, I think so too.
As a group.
That's what I'm saying. I really like that. I think they could build as a 3-person versus Titus Worldwide, and adding Jason to that. And I think, and each week you're starting to hear more people like Jason. Like I really pay attention to that, how the fan reacts to it.
They're keeping him off the mic. They're not letting him talk. He's just going out there wrestling.
Yeah,
and this whole storyline with Kurt Angle thing, I think. They're still hitting at it.
Yeah, they're still trying to make it relevant.
Not as much as it used to be.
Yeah.
Because when Elias made the little song, it had the little Kurt Angle theme music talking about Jason Jordan. So, but yeah, they're not really focusing on that anymore as they used to.
Yeah. Next, we had a cruiserweight bout. Excuse me. The Brian Kendrick versus Cedric Alexander, with Jack Gallagher at Brian Kendrick's corner and Rich Swann in Cedric's corner. And I'm liking this rivalry between the two. I feel like the Cruiserweight division has some of the best matches, honestly. And I still like Jack Gallagher's heel. I like his heel persona. Honestly, I like that a little bit more than his, initial face character, which made him like the wild, goofy English person that had all this random attacks. Like now he just seems like a British, just street fighter. And so, but Cedric hits, which is another kind of move that kind of reminded me of Apollo Crews, his little suplex that throws him up into landing on his knees for the pin. Like he kind of throws him up and then he jumps on his whatever, kind of lands back on his knees and gets that for a win. I would like, if we're going to build groups and stuff, I would like to see Cedric add on to Titus Worldwide, because Apollo has that move that he throws him up from that back suplex into the power bomb, and then Cedric has the thing that throws him from the back suplex into the knees. So they have similar moves. And then you have Jason Jordan and Titus O'Neil in the background or whatever.
All of them are black.
Yep, that's what I
like a nation of domination.
Oh, I didn't think like that. I didn't think like that. That would work.
I would like to see them kind of reinvent that again.
See?
Because you got Apollo Crews, then you got Titus, you got Jason Jordan.
And then you have Cedric Alexander.
Yeah. That could be like a new little mini.
And it's funny you say that. I really thought that when they had the 6-man tag, I was like, they just picked black guys to fight white guys. Like I genuinely thought that. I was like, no, it's deeper than that, I guess. It's so
it could be. I could see that like a remake of the Nation.
See, we're building some groups. Like Raw will be so much more interesting once we have like just groups coming at each other, street fighting it out. But yeah, I'm just saying. The next we have Miz TV, and it comes with him, Curtis, Axel, still lingering back there around, and Sheamus and Cesaro, and his guest of the night is going to be Braun. Boy, I did not see you doing.
That's a monster among men coming, man. You gotta be ready, man.
Truly, the monster among men. So, and now it seems like Miz is trying to incline that, since Dean said something about adding 5, he's going to add a 5th person. And Curtis Axel is starting to get hyped. It's like, yeah.
I was like, Curtis Axel.
See, you deserve it. And so, but Kurt Angle stops and he's like, no, we're not going to do this again. Where, you tried this and got Braun last week. We're not going to do that. But then Miz
he tried to use the same thing. So what about your 3 eyes? He's like, don't use the same thing you used last week.
Exactly. So finally they decided to come to a deal saying that it'll be Braun versus Roman in that steel cage match, that if Braun wins, they can add the 5th man, which right now looks like it's going to be Curtis. But if Roman wins, then Braun Strowman is out of the match, and it makes it a good old traditional 3-on-3 match. And Kurt ends it by saying, just to make sure, everybody is banned from ringside from that match and the tag team championship match. So
I like that way he did that. I like how Kurt has been kind of getting in between them. He doesn't want this rivalry to really...
Yeah, it gave some creativity to it.
Some creativity. Didn't want the rivalry to overflow like before the big match. So he's trying to keep all of them, just like he did at the beginning of the show, be like, hey, if you guys go to blows here, Strowman, you don't get Roman tonight in the cage. And Sheamus says, you want your tag team title shots? Yeah. If you want your title shots,
don't do it.
Wait till later tonight. And then coming out here, stopping the Miz in his tracks, like, hey, that's not going down this way this week.
Right.
You tried that last week. And my thing is with the Miz, like, you feel like you guys are so capable of beating. Why do you need all these people to beat 3 men?
Why?
I
don't like it.
Why do you feel like you need this many people to beat the Shield?
But you know what? Honestly, I don't like it. But what I feel is happening by this is that they're just really trying to push the Shield over. So what better way to make them over by beating everybody they can add at one time? So, and I don't like it. Like, I feel like in the midst of them doing that, they're going to lower the efforts of the other people. Like, for them to beat Braun Strowman with 3 other, superstars is gonna, to me, it's gonna lessen Braun Strowman's package for me. Like, Braun Strowman's already one that can take out multiple people at one time. But now, if he can't beat the Shield with 3 other people, that doesn't look good for me. But that's what they wanted to do.
And my thing is just kind of like, I understand the point of making sure, hey, we want to make this a short-lived Shield reunion,
right?
So we want to try to get as many.
I hope
people.
It's not short-lived.
I don't think it's going to be. I think it'll still go on after.
Yeah, I hope
after this is over. But it's just kind of like maybe like your thing that you brought up weeks ago. Bringing the Shield back all the way and riding Roman all the way to try to get Roman over.
Right.
And Roman wins it at WrestleMania as a
Shield.
As a member of the Shield.
That's the only time you get him this likable.
Because really the boos were kind of like, people were like, when he was talking, people was like, if I boo, am I booing the Shield or am I just booing Roman? So they're kind of like, I don't know what to do anymore.
Like,
I don't know how to react to Roman anymore now.
But he's with the Shield now, so it's cool.
Yeah.
So the next thing that happens is one of my just really put me in a bad mood. But I'll say this: I understood it. It was a Sasha Banks versus Alicia Fox. It was a quick match, But my whole purpose, and I wrote this down, I said it's just to keep Alicia relevant. So when Asuka returns, she can be in that lineup of the people that she's going through. And I'm going to go ahead and finish this part. And I feel like I already know the ideal lineup of how they're going to build this whole thing with Asuka's progression to the title. So Sasha wins with her bank statement submission for a tap out. But then later on, somebody tries to interview her backstage and Alicia attacks her. And while she's attacking her, she says it's not over yet. It's not. This is not over. And so, but while doing that, she ended up knocking down a referee, which she's supposed to be getting fined for. But now that attacking her backstage made her look strong, which is, like I said, it's making her look like a bigger competitor when Asuka comes in. And this is how I feel like this whole lineup of Asuka is going to go through. It's going to start off with Emma. Emma's going to be sacrificed, of course. Then it's Alicia. Alicia's next to be sacrificed. And depending on what they do between Alexa Bliss and Mickie James, if Mickie doesn't win, Mickey's next. Mickie will be the third woman. Then it'll be in between either Sasha or Bayley, and then it'll be Alexa Bliss. Notice now, someone that I didn't put in, which wasn't at Raw either, is Nia Jax. Now, I say that to say that by watching on YouTube, Wrestle Talk TV, that I follow on YouTube, they said that she walked out on WWE this past week. She walked out on Raw because she was unsatisfied. So there's no. So she leaving the company? I did not know that. I don't know. They haven't said anything more about it, but she walked out this week. And last week Neville walked out. Well, the week before last.
Yeah, I heard you were saying that he's gone too. And the thing is too, I mean, this goes back to just bad booking under using good talent.
Exactly.
But I mean, a couple of months ago, she had actually tweeted she was watching SmackDown Live a few months ago, seeing how they were using their women superstars over there, and she was just saying, "I wish." She said something negative toward Monday Night Raw. Wish Monday Night Raw would take a page from what SmackDown's doing of how they use their women superstars. Yeah. And I think that's when we started seeing this whole thing of using all of them at one time, these fatal 5-ways, these fatal 4-ways, these tag team matches, these 6-woman tag matches, just to try to make sure you give everybody airtime.
And now that I think about it, these last 3, possibly 4 weeks, we haven't seen Nia Jackson.
That's why I was asking you last, like, where's Nia? And I know sometimes she just goes off sometimes and then she just pops back up.
Right. And that could be part of her frustration is that they don't use her for certain live events.
And I think she should at least have had at least one title reign by now.
She should have the title now. Like, that should be the ideal person that Sasha ends her road with, is beating Nia Jax.
Yeah.
So, but next we have Enzo Amore doing his promo. He's complaining about being cheated out of the championship by Mustafa, and Kalisto taking advantage, just not winning really, but just being a dog, taking advantage of whatever. So Kalisto comes out in a very bad promo, but I guess it's a...
Did you realize what he said?
No.
At TLC, I'm going to come out the new Cruiserweight champion.
He did say that.
I'm like, you already the Cruiserweight champion, dude. How are you going to be the new Cruiserweight champion? Like...
Got to do some promo. We need John Cena. We need John Cena.
Dude, you got to learn how to cut a promo. Let me show you how to do it, kid.
I'm back because you can't do your job. Now I'm 205 pounds, going to win the Cruiserweight Championship. But that's what happened.
He's like, I'm going to come out the new.
The new. So, but he's going to win. No excuses at TLC. But then Enzo kind of lingers on about, what he wants to respond with. And then out of nowhere, we see Tony Nese, Drew Gulak, Noam Dar, Daivari, and was it Mustafa Ali?
Mustafa came out to help after.
Came out to help, yeah.
After the attack.
So they all attack. And then Mustafa comes out to help. And he runs through at first. He's taking out one at a one.
Everybody out, yeah.
He gets to Enzo, and then the numbers game is 5-1, 5-2 now. And so they finally, get him down. Enzo's like, I don't want to hit anybody, right? I got on too much. I ain't taking nobody.
Yeah, he kept bringing up his money, and I think that's why he kind of made the thing saying that what did he say before they came out? You're on the tracks and you're on the.
Yeah, something about to get run over.
Over or something. I think he just kept talking about his money, and I think he may have used that to pay those guys to...
Which would make sense.
Yeah, because I'm like, why would they turn... All before Enzo week after week is crushing these guys, and all of a sudden they're helping him.
And every one of them took a hit at him.
But then you remember last week in the Lumberjack match, a lot of them act like they didn't want to even attack Kalisto.
Yeah.
Like they kept just throwing him back in the ring.
Except for Brian Kendrick.
And them, yeah.
So, and then Enzo finally does hit his little finisher on Kalisto, which Corey Graves calls it Jaw Dunzo. I don't know if that's the real name for it, but he said it, so I wrote it down.
Jaw Dunzo? Okay,
which sounds like something Enzo would say.
I like it.
So, but this is the other faction I like. This is like a 5-person group. Somebody that can it's like it kind of reminds me the most recent, the Nexus. Like it's ambushing. We're gonna just all 5 of us. We're gonna take you out. So I really like this, and I hope that they can keep this idea going. And so maybe when Enzo wins it now, he has his gang now. It's like, you can't get to me because of so-and-so, and let Enzo's title reign, because I really like this faction.
Yeah. I like the idea of it. I just want them to kind of tie it in to make it more logical for me as to why they did what they did to help Enzo.
Yeah, just say they paid him off.
Yeah,
or that he could kind of take a page out of Neville's book. How Neville was like, you weren't being used, but now I got you relevant, and now you can have a title shot. Maybe he can be like, I'll give you a title shot, kind of almost like Neville, and almost like what Alexa Bliss did for Nia Jax. She was like, hey, if you help me, you'll get your shot, even though she never did. But
because that's how Neville did with TJP for a while.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking of. So. Now, finally, after this, we get our tag team championship match. Seth Rollins and Dean Ambrose. I like the fact that they kept their solo theme music. I
didn't like that.
You didn't? So you wanted them to still come out as Shield?
Because it takes away the whole aura of the Shield. Like, let them be Shield all the way.
No, I like the fact that now they're the Shield with their own entities. So, except for Roman, because for me, Roman's
music is already the Shield.
Exactly. It just doesn't have the little.
That's why I say let all of them just come out through the crowd. I like the idea of coming out through the crowd and just being the Shield. Before they broke off and became their own, I'm Seth Rollins, I'm Dean Ambrose, I'm Roman. Like, if you're going to be the Shield, be the Shield. Do it the same way every time you hit the arena. You need to come. You need to come through the crowd.
I get it,
but you need to come out to Roman's music.
Not Roman. The Shield's music.
It's Roman's
music.
Man.
But
Roman's music.
I do like that solo theme style. I still feel like that's good. They're keeping them solo. But maybe now that you said that, they might kind of indicate kind of their shortened Shield reign because they haven't let go of the original theme music. But I hope not.
I'm gonna tell you what's gonna break the Shield up. Let one of them win the Universal Championship. It's over.
What?
The breakup is intimate because all of them want to be the champion.
They're tag championships though.
Let's
say Seth and Dean keep their tag, and then Roman's gonna get the WWE Universal Championship at WrestleMania. Like, that's gonna happen. So
what broke him up the last time?
Evolution, Triple H.
Yeah, he got in Seth's head. Follow me, I'm gonna get you the championship. It's all about the title in the end of the day. Like, I don't really think one of them being the champion in that group and everybody in that group being okay with that. Especially when all of them have been the world champion before. Especially knowing Seth Rollins, man. Seth that's his claim to fame. He wants to be the champion. So I just think if one of them get that belt, it may work for a little while, but I think eventually they're going to be looking over that shoulder. Kind of every major faction, most of the time, if one of them has the belt, it's a breakup. Because you remember how Evolution did years ago when Randy Orton won it.
Oh, yeah.
And then Triple H was there, and he had him over his shoulders, and Triple H was looking up at him as they were celebrating, and he was just like,
hit that thumbs down.
Thumbs down, and Batista dropped my boy. But we'll have to see.
Now you make me want to go watch that on WWE Network.
Yeah.
Which is just start off for $9.99 and you get 30 days free. I'm sounding like Raw now.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we had the championship match, and the Shield did come out still in their technical gear, so I like that part of it. They're starting to look even better as a tag to me. Like, I feel like just having on that outfit made them their chemistry just look even better.
Mm-hmm.
So I like, though, Sheamus and Cesaro had a good little part where Sheamus kind of popped I think Seth off the ropes into Cesaro hitting him with an uppercut.
Yep.
And that was a real nasty move. I like that. Then besides that, we got a lot of Seth and Dean kind of diving out of the rings on them.
I like the dives when they do that.
Yeah. So, and they had some really good rallies. At the end, definitely, when everybody, once again, had a situation, everybody come in and hitting each other with moves. And then Dean hits his finisher. Seth and Dean hits their finisher on Cesaro. And it's for the win, and then they retain their titles. And so, this rivalry, to me, is starting to become New Day Uso, kind of, for me.
Could be. It could be. They've been working together for a while now, and they've got a lot of good chemistry going. The only thing is with me with I start to say Cesaro. I always mix their names up.
Yeah, I mean, they're a tag.
Cesaro.
They're a tag now.
Yeah, but
Shamaro.
Cesaro's mouth. Like, I want him. I mean, this. I wonder why that continues. If he's already had the surgery, why is he still wearing the?
He might need some time for it to heal.
I like the way Dean kind of reminisced, almost trying to do it to him, and he stopped himself. Like
he was like, not this time.
I like how they teased that.
Yeah, that was definitely a good pop. So next we have Finn Balor doing his promo. For me, I feel like if I was at the ring, if I was there in attendance, I would be disappointed. I would be way more disappointed. On the Titantron. That's it. Like, he's just standing there staring, then all of a sudden you hear the... And then you see his face on the screen, and then it goes back to him, and then back to the screen. So now you got to be looking, put your, as the Usos say, your head on the swivel, looking at the Titantron. Oh, it's back to him. Oh, it's back to him. Like,
man, I'm so over this. And I hate it because Finn Balor's such a great talent.
Now, I'll say this. For me, I didn't feel like Finn had to make like a different color.
We already know who he's going to be. Yeah, we already know who he's going to involve too.
Who?
They were making it funny. Like, I read some things on this. I meant to tell you.
Okay.
Basically, I was just reading a review, just an online review of this. It was like, basically, this is the battle is who is better with video editing software. This is what this battle is about. Bray Wyatt, Finn Balor, who can do special effects better than the other person. And then you got him fighting a man who is calling himself Sister Abigail. So it's just like, and it looked like it wasn't red. His face looked more orange.
Yeah,
like an oranges.
That's what. What was that? I forgot. I think Russell Talk, they said something about that. It was like fighting the Great Pumpkin or something.
The pumpkin or something like that. And then did you see the graphic for it for TLC?
No.
You got to go back and look at the
horrible.
graphic. It does look like a pumpkin, somebody with a pumpkin face.
Versus.
And then you just like somebody with something just thrown over their face. The graphic for this match is horrible.
I just don't see what Bray's going to come out as. Like, it just, I feel like it's going to be disturbing. Like, not in a scary way. It's just going to be like, I don't know his sexual orientation disturbing. Which, I mean, I don't think it doesn't have to be. I mean, because I've seen a lot of people joke saying he's going to be a drag queen, but I mean, it doesn't have to be like that because Sister Abigail is a demonic spirit, so he can just dress up demonic. So, yeah.
Or like you said, maybe throughout that filler with possibly Paige.
I would like for him to do that,
but I don't think that's going to happen though.
Yeah, but I would hope. Like, I don't know. I feel like that would be better, and I think that'll help Bray's kind of thing, and that'll let her be. She would be like what Paul Bearer was to the Undertaker.
That's what I was saying. Yeah, they should let him and she have the control over him and stuff. But I guess as you mentioned, like he took the ashes and rubbed all over himself. That kind of embedded her spirit inside of his inner being. So I guess that's why he's able to transition from Sister Abigail to himself.
Yeah.
So what? I just
whatever.
It's just. I don't care. It's just...
Yeah. All right, I'm with you on that one. So, but on to a funnier part of the night for me. You got backstage, Curtis Axel is trying to motivate, Sheamus and Cesaro, and then Braun, and he's saying, he's so hype. He's like, I want to be I want you to win so I can be the fifth man. I'm so hype. I can go beat up Roman. I can go tear him apart right now. And then Braun's like, go do it. So, and then he kind of gets stuck. He steps back. He's like, "Are you serious? I mean, I'm not dressed." And Braun's like, "Go do it." And he's like, "All right, I'm gonna go do it. I'm gonna go beat up Roman." So you see him walking around backstage and finally sees the Shield like in a corner somewhere talking. And he starts to walk towards the Shield, and then it goes to commercial. And I like that part. It was a good cliffhanger right there for that moment. And so finally, the Miz finds Sheamus and Cesaro and Braun in the same locker room, and he's ready for the match. And he's like, "What happened to Curtis?" And so Sheamus makes a joke. He's like, "I think he's single-handedly taking down the Shield." So then Miz is like, "What?" And Braun Strowman is like, he said he wanted Roman. I told him to go do it. So Miz is like, "Oh my God!" And so he goes looking for Curtis and finds Curtis Axel hanging upside down off of a crane, looks like, or a forklift, hanging off a forklift, upside down by his legs, shirt down. Well, up in this manner because he's upside down. And it looks like he has some whelps on his chest. It looked like he's seen some red spots on his stomach. So, to say the least, he got kind of hurt pretty bad by the Shield. And so now the interviewer comes to the Miz while he's trying to watch over Axel. And she's like, "Well, what are you going to do with your fifth man?" He's like, "I respect everything about Curtis, but he was never our fifth man." And then he just walks off. I was like, "Oh, like that actually really shocked me." Then I was
like, "Well, then who could the fifth person
exactly be?" So that was a good part for me. So then we have this cliffhanger coming into the steel cage match, which is our main event between Braun Strowman and Roman Reigns inside of a steel cage. Now, mind you, well, even though Kurt Angle says that, nobody's supposed to be at ringside, everyone's banned, the Miz comes out to the announcer table, which technically isn't ringside because now they moved it up to the front of the ramp.
True.
But then throughout this match, which is a really good match to me, Sheamus and Cesaro comes out when Roman's about to climb over the top of the ring. And then the Shield comes out Seth and Dean comes out to knock out them, and they're fighting outside of the ring now. And while Roman is almost at the top, almost over, Braun Strowman goes up the side of the cage, grabs Roman by his vest, and then power suplexes him straight off the top of the cage. That was the best moment of the night for me. That was, to say the least. And so it seems like while they're down, we have this whole segment that we see Sheamus and Cesaro, Seth and Dean, they're fighting all the way to the backstage. And now they keep going, and Miz just walks off the announce table. It's like, "Excuse me, guys." So while they're fighting, they go farther and further back. They get to the garage area. And then Miz looks at everybody, and then he sets the little cage down to close everybody out in the garage area. Then he comes back to the ring, and he's like, "Guys," and they're asking him, they're like, "Well, who's the fifth person?" He's like, "Don't worry, I'll tell you when I feel like it." So now, back to the match, the actual match. We see Roman Reigns finally. What happened? Strowman tries to climb out. Well, I guess he has to climb out because they lock the cage this time. So, but Roman kicks his leg off, which makes him fall private first onto the ropes. And we get 2 Superman punches. I wrote them down. We get 2 Superman punches and a reverse spear. He tries to go into a spear. Braun Strowman picks him up, hits him with a 3rd Superman punch, and then he kicks out. And this time he spears Braun Strowman, but we hear Kane. We hear the fire. We see fire pyro come up. We get the red theme. Then all of a sudden, Kane comes out from under the ring. Then him and Braun Strowman go back and forth. Choke slam, power slam, a power driver, another power slam. And then finally, Braun Strowman pins him. And then the Miz announces and say, if it hasn't been obvious, our 5th member will be Kane. And that's how they end Raw. Whew. How do you feel about that, D. Moody?
I just don't understand why it's taking all these people to beat the Shield.
I don't either.
I don't get it.
I don't either.
I don't.
Because for me, like, I would imagine that they're setting up for the Shield to win. They can't be all this build.
There's got to be some kind of triumphant.
Unless, now here's an idea. This is a stretch, but here's an idea.
Okay.
The Shield can't overcome all 5 of them, which will make everybody look good and still make the Shield look good. It's like they're still the strong team. They just couldn't beat 5 people, which would seem logical considering that all 5 that they're facing are heavyweights. It's not like they're facing some cruiserweights or an Apollo right now. They're facing all main eventers or recent main eventers. So they lose.
And I was trying to figure out what Kane's role was going to be in this, but then as I was doing some research last night on it, it was saying that the reason Kane may be involved with this with Roman is because he retired The Undertaker. That's his brother.
I saw a picture of that.
Yeah. And so they said maybe that could be a reason. And you know, Kane has always battled with the Shield when he was with the Authority as Corporate Kane. And then just in general, most of the multi-person matches the Shield had something to do with Kane.
Exactly.
So
that's true.
So maybe that's why he's in it, you know, just for the sake of that.
Yeah. And so, my bad.
Go ahead.
No, I was just saying, so because of that, the Shield can't overcome 5 people. And now this next setup is either going to be a setup for maybe a Survivor Series match, because they have 5 people now. And this gives the Shield a chance to either build 5, build 2 more people, or now the Shield starts doing their Shield actions and start taking out one person at a time. You see Kane getting a match and they ambush him like in this traditional Shield, or they take out the Miz or something now. So I feel like that'll be something to kind of push. That's the only way everybody can win in my eyes, because if the Shield beats 5 people, it doesn't look good for Braun. It doesn't look good for it just doesn't look good for Braun. I mean, we can understand maybe Sheamus and Cesaro having breakdown. We can see that. The Miz might do something stupid. We can see that. Mm-hmm. Kane hasn't been back in a while, and Kane has sometimes become gimmicky from time to time just for the sake of being
he's
a
the
gimmick.
only person that has nothing to gain from this because it's Kane.
Exactly.
Kane can leave and come back.
Exactly. He can walk out if he wants to. So I feel like the only way that everybody can win, unless, like I said, the Miz does something stupid and piss off Braun and Kane and they leave. Mm-hmm. Something like that. That the Shield has to lose. The Shield has to lose.
I don't think they'll bring him back to lose.
But
I think they'll still...
It doesn't make sense.
I think they're going to eliminate one of those 5 people. One of those 5 people aren't going to finish out the match. Somebody's going to get hurt to where they're going to have to get carted off or something to try to make it somewhat even.
They should make it an elimination match.
It could be, but I mean, it just depends on... I
think
now at this point they haven't expressed the fact that it's going to be one, so it's going to just be first pinfall. You know, it's going to be brutal, but then like most time in TLC matches, you're fighting for something.
Remember
at this point, this is just fighting to be hardcore. This could have just been a false count anywhere, anything goes, no DQ. Elimination match or something.
But remember the 5
maybe
women,
a Survivor Series,
the Fatal 5-Way.
That'll be elimination if they redo this again.
Yeah, but for them to have to redo it, they have to get eliminated. That's just they have to. The Shield has to go down in my eyes. But
it's kind of hard to see. What I can kind of see the role Kane is playing, and I know the Miz. The Miz, I think he wants all these people just to ensure he wants to win regardless. Right. However it comes out, whether he's the reason or. And if anything, if they were to get the pinfall on the Shield, it would be the Miz to get the pin.
Yeah,
because he's the squirmy one. He probably was beaten up to a point, and I could just imagine him crawling over and just throwing his arm over, and then he comes out the next night on Raw. I did this and I did that.
I single-handedly defeated the Shield.
And it's going to be a Mizzy's 3.
Right.
So
yeah. Yeah, I don't know, man. Maybe there's some way that they can pull this off. I mean,
think the Shield will win. I don't know how they're gonna twist it, but I think the Shield will still win it.
Yeah, I'm yet to see a good way for them to twist it, because now for me, my whole thing is worrying about Braun Strowman, because we just had him in a championship match. He's been the person throwing people around, doing this stuff, and he just technically kind of dominated Seth Rollins and Dean in singles action. So you're just telling me that for them
to try to equalize him, get him out of the picture early.
I mean, but how
focus on him and Kane?
But how can they do that with
3 other people?
Right, and that's going to be on their backs. Like, because I can immediately see 2 people getting, 2 people getting each person, like something like that. I mean, of course, we'll be 1 person short. So maybe the Miz and Dean go at it from then, and when we have Sheamus and Cesaro jumping Seth Rollins, and then Kane and Braun is going to jump, Roman Reigns. So I just don't see the Shield winning. It won't look good for Braun. I can't say everybody in company, but like the Shield can lose this pay-per-view and still be good because now it's their mission on really being the Shield and taking out people one by one. That's the only way I can see it for me.
Okay.
So, but we are running short of time, so we are going to wrap this up. We're going to wrap. Are we wrapping up Monday night?
Yeah, we can go ahead and wrap it up. I mean, it's the go-home show, so we can go ahead and wrap it up.
So when we come back, we will give you our predictions and the card for Sunday's pay-per-view, Tables, Ladders, and Chairs, TLC. After which, we will give you our recap of SmackDown Live. We'll go into the NBA, some more in baseball. Are we done with baseball? Or some more?
Yeah, we got some final stuff going on in baseball heading toward the World Series.
Some more in the World Series going on. And some other stuff maybe. But we are Sports Moves. 2 Moody's.
1 Duty.
Sports.